Ooh, you did it again.
Hello. Let's do that one more time. Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table podcast. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender at the Astro Pub, your professor on the Astro Historian, and your facilitator here on the Captain's Table podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to Star Citizen lore, news, and more, where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about the game. Today, I've got Citizen Deedsy and HCVertigo to talk about a specific topic, which we'll bring up here in a moment. But before we do, I want to have them introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Mr. Vertigo. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you? Oh, I should say,
Well,
the Sultan of Stanton himself, Mr. HC.
yes, yes. Well, I'm a streamer, content creator, do a lot of Star Citizen. I'm probably over 20,000 hours in Star Citizen now, streamed.
Yeah.
Probably one of the original Star Citizen streamers that's still around.
Yeah, you and me are
Right.
freaking old now.
You, me, Mike, Salty Mike.
Yeah.
Can't remember who else has been longer.
To a degree,
Detox, Burks.
Yeah. Well, Burks isn't streaming Star Citizen really. He's like kind of off and on now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I gotta change the audio for Vertigo a little bit. All right, you're good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I do a lot of Star Citizen, but kind of branching out into some variety stuff now. Finished up Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which was pretty decent. Dipping into Crimson Desert, which is really fun. I'm like 10 hours into it, and it's just like, the game's crazy.
The way it's been described, and this is funny because this is by the writer of the game who got fired, who was trying to like besmirch their game. Was they're like they just got everything that they thought was fun and put it in the game. There is no story. That's like, that's a play style, dude. People enjoy that gameplay style. You be able to do like WWE wrestling moves and then also be able to fly. Like
yes, I have an upgrade that turns me into Spider-Man. I have this like little crow claw. I can shoot magical crow claw. I can shoot out with like a little magical rope, and I can pull myself up onto buildings and stuff.
You can get into like a blimp and do like air combat and shoot people with guns. And
it's not an RPG that has a very strong story for what I'm getting so far. It's a very bog standard. Your character dies within the first 5 minutes of gameplay. Like, it's not really a huge spoiler. And then you get fished out of a lake, a river. You get fished out of a river by a guy, and then the gods like abduct you and say, "Hey, this place is falling apart. We need your help to be our avatars to fix things." And then the story kind of takes off from there.
What you're trying to say is that it's more of a sandbox than a theme park.
There you go. So yeah, we could like go right there, but yeah. So
let's wait for it. Let's wait for it.
Yeah, let's wait for it. So yeah, so we do some YouTube videos every so often. I need to get a YouTube video done this month. I've been kind of dragging on that.
Oh, I'm with you.
And yeah, so we've been enjoying a lot of our side projects. Satisfactory, we've been doing that on the side as well in our spare time, trying to get our big factory completed. Enjoying that. Fuck Star Citizen right now. Just Jesus Christ. I'm more excited for other things happening in the gaming world than Star Citizen at the moment. But yeah, there's my introduction, Paul. You can run with that.
There we go. Where can they find you though? Let's do the last one.
HCVertigo on Twitch, HCVertigo on YouTube, HCVertigo on Instagram, HCVertigo on Blue Sky. There you go.
Yeah. Vertigo everywhere. HCVertigo everywhere. Branding.
Yep.
Deedsy. Citizen Deedsy, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Yeah, pretty fledgling YouTube channel. Just broken 200 subs, so I'm pretty chuffed with that. That's pretty good.
That's great.
Loving that. So thank you anyone who's followed me on there. I basically do how-to guides. I do a lot of shorts and stuff about the obvious bugs and misadventures that I come across in the verse. Currently only Star Citizen, but I have backed the game since 2014, and I've dabbled in Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, many other sort of space games, things like that. So it's possibly something I'm going to look at in the future. But yeah, mostly YouTube and also on Instagram. And I posted some of my shorts to TikTok and things like that. So yeah, but Citizen_Deedsy anywhere you can find me. And like I say, I try to put a bit more of a positive spin on the game, which hasn't been easy recently. When I started YouTube stuff, it seemed it was in a good place, and the positivity is slowly waning after my most recent play sessions and the footage I've got to run through for my next few videos. It's going to be tough to keep the smile.
But no. What I will say is this is not unusual for CIG in the summer. They usually improve in the fall and the spring, but it's summer.
Yeah.
Winter is not as bad, but it can be pretty bad too. So, but at least it's like a month.
It's the usual sort of ebb and flow, isn't it? Yeah. So, always happy to be on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. I think we're going to have some thoughts.
Citizen_Deedsy on YouTube, right?
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Perfect.
Well, as I kind of alluded to earlier, this is going to be a discussion on sandbox versus theme park gameplay. This is a big one. I remember there was a Launch Sequence podcast recently with Detox, and I know Detox is a fervent enjoyer of sandbox gameplay. But this is a discussion that's been coming up more and more with the focus that CIG seems to be having on these sorts of dungeon and raid-like experiences. Is that Star Citizen seems to be more leaning into theme park than sandbox. But before we can even get started with that, what the heck is a sandbox and what the heck is a theme park? Because people will have completely different definitions when you look at it. There's plenty of people who will say, oh yeah, Lazarus is or Stormageddon is a sandbox. And then other people, like, I know Vertigo, maybe it was like, no, we were talking about this before, and it's like, no, that's not a sandbox. And so let's start off with just our definitions of what a sandbox is in gaming and what is a theme park in gaming. So that way we each have our own interpretations, and we might be able to come up with for this podcast, a unified definition we're all okay with, so that we can have the discussion going forward. So, Deedsy, I'll start with you. When you hear the word sandbox versus theme park, what are you thinking about in terms of like what is a sandbox and what is a theme park in a technical level? Not just I like sandbox, I like the theme parks, but like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so your mind immediately goes to the likes of Minecraft, Terraria, in many ways No Man's Sky, because you can rip apart everything. You know, the planets aren't precious. They just, it's essentially, to me, is those kind of games where you're not blocked in pretty much any way. Like if you want to just rip apart the landscape, if you just want to do, build up whatever you want to build, that kind of thing. Now, it also depends on, obviously, like if it's just completely just your hand isn't held at all, like you just dropped in, go, here's a world, you can do this kind of thing, you use these weapons, these tools, go. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the nice introduction of, let's hold your hand through the first 2 hours of the game, and this is how you set up your first little thing, and this is it. Like, because No Man's Sky, you're obviously crash landed on one of the random generated planets, and it goes, all right, repair this, repair that. That's essentially just teaching you the basic mechanics, and then from that point onwards, you can follow the story if you want. It's there is a lot of things to do, but essentially No Man's Sky story always just felt like learning the mechanics of the universe.
So what you're saying is that, like, in a sandbox environment, the story or the theme park elements of a sandbox are usually just there to teach you how to do the sandbox.
Yes.
What tools you have in sandbox?
Yes, in many ways, yeah. Like a traditional, like a story is added extra as such. If you want to you just need to be dropped in. This is how you play. Go. I think that's sort of it for me, and it's obviously what Minecraft's always been.
Yeah.
Besides like the spin-offs and things like that, same with like Terraria. They added bosses and things like that in that game, and even little ones like Animal Crossing as such like that. Those those kind of games. It's basically obviously a much gentler and kinder way to do it, but there is a sort of thread keeps you driven as such.
Something you can do. Yeah, it's weird to think that like Animal Crossing and Rust are both sandboxes. And you would not put those two in any category similarity otherwise.
100%.
So
obviously two very different player bases.
What's the I would love to see that crossover. There's probably some crossover there.
You imagine putting those player bases in the same room together. My God.
Bells, or I'm gonna kill you. That's the Animal Crossing players who burns your home to the ground for your bells.
Remember when Animal Crossing and Doom released on the Nintendo Switch on the same day?
Yeah.
And there was like tons of fanfic crossovers of the series.
It was such a good Barbenheimer moment. Gaming invented Barbenheimer before movies did.
True that.
So Deedsy, that's Sandbox. What's a theme park?
Yeah.
When you hear theme park, what is a theme park?
I think it's that, as like you say, that thread isn't a thread. It's a big, thick path, such that yes, there are cool things you can do along the way. Like you get elements of freedom as such in like Assassin's Creed games. You know what I mean? Where you can explore, you can do other things and that kind of. But you are essentially gated, is how I see it. So whether it be, you can't go to this new area until you've done this part of the story. You know, there's parts of it that are blocked, essentially, is how I see it. So like I say, Assassin's Creed, obviously even like the open world ones, you know, tried to branch out a little bit, but there wasn't much sandboxy elements in that. You could just sort of explore and do what you want. It's the same in almost like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. You know, there's a big vast world, but essentially you are going to have to do these handheld story-driven missions to find any element of fun. There's nothing really you can do without following the side quests, or like in Elder Scrolls, doing the guilds, doing the main story, that kind of thing, where essentially there is a plethora of content. Like you can get lost for hours in The Witcher 3, but at the end of the day, you are looking for those side quests. You're looking for those little mini dungeons. You're looking for something in that respect. So, and like I say, gated, blocked content by whether it be level cap, whether it be skill gear. If you're talking about MMOs such as World of Warcraft, obviously everything's a theme park really in there. You've got, you know, like you can now build your own houses and that kind of crap. But essentially, it's all about doing a dungeon to get to a raid or to a mythic and that kind of thing. So it's about that progression. In that respect, so it's to me it's something that's gated behind whether it be skill, story progression, that kind of thing.
Okay, Vertigo, your thoughts. What is a sandbox and what is a theme park?
I mean, I don't think theme park games really are necessarily really about progression, mostly. Because you can have sandboxes with progression elements in them, like Rust, for example, where I would consider like Rust like very sandboxy, where it's mostly about how much agency the player has versus how much agency the developers have. Minecraft would be an excellent example of a sandbox game. There is there is a game over screen, or you've
beat the End Dragon.
Congratulations, you beat the Ender Dragon. Congratulations, you won. Or Factorio, you launched the rocket into space.
RimWorld, you can escape the planet. That's the end story of RimWorld, escaping the planet.
Yeah, so you can have it's really, to me, it's more about like player agency versus developer agency. You know, how I wouldn't consider Clair Obscure Expedition 33 a sandbox. That's going to be more of a theme park kind of like experience.
Ace Combat 7 is a theme park. As much as there's
exactly
it's a huge open map. You can fly all around, but you got to kill the guys, do the mission and come home, sort of thing. So
and I think Ace Combat 7 even has like timers on its missions, right?
Yes, some of them have timers missions, but they do have sandbox elements where like you can go back and like land, and you have different things you can accomplish that you can do. Like Ace Combat 0,
but you have very little agency in those missions. Like you're required to do
your job is to do the thing, even if you can do these side things that get you extra points, so you can get more points to unlock more planes in the future. That doesn't it doesn't apply to the that's more of a the peripheral rather than the experience.
For me, like the theme park is more about like the experience, and the sandbox is more about the experience for the player's perspective. How the developer curates the content and delivers to you, and how you it's all about how you experience the content, right? Like, do you experience on your own terms, or is it are you very much like a roller coaster where you're on rails?
Mm-hmm.
And we could turn this around and talk about Hathor. I was thinking about this. We were talking about this earlier before the podcast started, and I told everybody to stop talking about it because you talk about it during the podcast.
We always do this. We always do this where we have a conversation while we're setting up, and it ends up being like the conversation we need to have when the cameras are live and we're recording. And it's like, oh no, stop talking. Leave it for later.
But Hathor is an excellent example of sandboxy versus sandbox and theme park content, where there is a very clearly defined objective by the developers, where there's a roller coaster you can get on, and then you can ride that roller coaster to its eventual destination, right? Where you fire the laser, you get in, you mine Karenite, and you get out. And there's a bunch of stuff you can do with that Karenite, those materials, that can improve your sandbox content. But there's also other stuff to do. There's missions you can do down there that help you earn money. There's loot you can do down there. It has plenty of loot boxes. You can open you don't have to activate the alignment facilities just to fire the laser. You can activate those alignment facilities to get access to the loot rooms. And this is what my buddy Exodus does. He goes down there and he checks to see if any of the alignment facilities have been activated, and he just checks to see if there's any loot in there because he wants to upgrade his ships, or he wants to sell the components,
Yeah, because you can get unique components out of the out of those facilities if you have the right cards and stuff like that.
And there's also other loot rooms in there that take the blue key cards, so you can go around, gather up the key cards, check the loot rooms and whatnot, kind of do that kind of stuff, upgrade your character that way. Or you just go down there to fire a laser just to see if you get fired. But there's other missions that take you there as well. So that would be an excellent sandbox. And then you have, of course, Stormageddon, Stormbreaker with Apex Valakar. I consider that more of a theme park because, yeah, sure, there's some loot in there, but in order to get into the loot, there's so many hoops you have to jump through. You have to basically get on that roller coaster to start. And then once you get in there, you're basically fighting through all the hurdles and roadblocks the developers put up, almost like a one of those haunted houses, right? Those haunted mazes they put up every Halloween. You have to go through those cornfields mazes to actually get to the stuff you want. It's a lot more restrictive in where you're allowed to move, and the developers, there's a lot more. Even the weather's fighting you, right? You got you can't bring your ships in because you got this big distortion storm around there that disables your ships.
They limit your options of what you can. You have to do these specific things, right?
You have to do these. You have to take this roller coaster to this spot. And you have to get off. You have to get this card, and fight these guys. And you have to, if you want to do this, right?
Yeah.
You're expected. Go.
I'm using a different example. In the first Halo game, there was a section of the game where you had to go disable these generators, and there were 3 different generators.
I know that section.
But so it gives you the option of 3 different generators, but you still have to go disable those 3 generators. And there might be some enemy differences depending on which ones you disable where, but generally speaking, it's going to be the same experience for everyone. So it gives you the illusion of like, oh yeah, you could take a different weapon or different armor set, but you're still gonna end up doing fight the big worm. There is no like meaningful choices beyond the like optimal choice of what CIG has developed. Is a great way of putting it.
But like I said, the developer tends to I tend to consider that more sandboxy, not more sandboxy, more theme parky, because there's less agency from the player, right? The developers are really trying to get you to experience the content in a very specific way. Similar to the ASD facility, the Onyx facilities, I consider those very much theme park, not sandbox, because you get into that elevator, you go down in there, and it's very much a straight shot. Like engineering, my favorite area. It
is literally a story because you can find the little like audio pickups. And it tells a story of what's going on,
And you can go around everywhere and like find all the little side stuff, but it's basically a corridor, right? It's a straight shot to the very final area, and then you get through that last door, and then you take the elevator back up.
The ASD facilities almost feel like the illusion of Sandbox. You know what I mean? Because obviously you can meet other players in there. So, but once you're in that facility for me, it was always I'm just locked in, so I'm going to see someone, I'm going to shoot them, whether it's
Yeah.
player or not. I'm just guns blazing. I've come in here for do a job. Like you say, you can do it. The first couple of times I went in, I was I was hunting for the voice boxes to hear the the Dr. Yorit story, and then the later times it was loot hunting, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's essentially they just didn't have instancing available, and they made so many of them across the universe that they it was hard to meet other players essentially, so they didn't need instancing, rather than like Hathor, where they were like, yo, let's do this really intricate sort of massive sequence and make like 4 places you can do it kind of thing. Whereas ASD, it was like, okay, here's 300. We don't need instancing because you probably won't get given the same one as someone else at the same time.
Well, they put a piece of tech in that made it so you're less likely to get the same mission location as someone else, and that was like a couple patches ago, because people were complaining about that. You were for some reason you'd accept a mission and you show up and there's always somebody there ahead of you. And that was like a problem with like 4.5, 4.6 or some shit. They were having problems with like the same missions being handed out to the same person over and over again.
Yeah.
So
one of my most one of my favorite games that I hold up as a beautiful sandbox. That one of my favorite games, one of my favorite Chris Roberts games, Wing Commander Privateer. There is a story to the game, but that story has a lot of off ramps where you have a choice. You could be a pirate. You could fly around and shoot trader vessels and tell them to surrender cargo and suck the cargo up and sell it to the pirate outposts. Be on the run from the law if you want to. You could become a trader. You could buy a trade ship, buy cargo, buy low, sell high. You become a bounty hunter. Go around, hunt down bounties to earn more money, to upgrade your ships and that kind of stuff. And the game doesn't punish you for that. There is just infinite time. I don't think any quest in that game has a time limit either. Like there's some urgency at one point in the game, but it doesn't really matter. You can just kind of faff about and just do whatever you want until you get like every upgrade in the game. But there is a point where you kind of run out of upgrades and it's like you got the best ship in the game and it's just like, well, now what? But you can still that line go up, right? Stonks. You can still just keep earning money however your chosen gameplay loop is.
Kind of like the elements of the Fable franchise as well. Obviously, I know the new one's coming out soon, but the original one, being able to like kill someone and then their house goes up for sale, then you can buy it and then rent it out to people for ridiculous amounts of money and make yourself evil. It was sort of that. Yes, it was literally a linear game because of this, the time. I know the later ones had a bit more of a wider
you never had to finish the game. You could continue to do whatever you wanted to.
Exactly, exactly that. Yeah, so it's just that having those options of, obviously, it was just the fun thing to do. You know what I mean? These little side things like that. But having an actual being able to put your stamp on the world beyond what a story-driven, the story would actually allow you to do was quite cool. I always thought in Fable and that kind of stuff.
But yeah, I think the difference between Sandbox and Theme Park is just how much agency the player is given over the environment. You can have games that kind of blur the distinction between the two, where you have kind of middling control over the story and the environment and whatnot. But DC brings up Fable, good example.
Mass Effect.
Surely, Mass Effect. I consider Mass Effect kind of theme parky.
It's theme parky have some open world and some
open world stuff
sandbox
in it.
Elements where like you have a control over the outcome.
But then you get if you're the first game, for example, when you're on the Normandy flying around exploring, very sandboxy. But when you start like the sequence to like rescue Liara. Like you're pretty much locked into that instance, and you're experiencing that. Or Mass Effect 2, when you're rescuing Garrus, Archangel from Omega, like you're pretty much locked into that story element until you're done with it.
Yeah.
It's like Knights of the Old Republic, actually. Now that I think about it as well. Obviously, fantastic franchise, but there's obviously those pop-ups that would say once you start this, you can't go back. You've set things in motion, so it's no going back.
You get that. You're all like, what was it, Coruscant? And you get a pop-up when you leave Coruscant. Like, you're not coming back to Coruscant.
It's like, you're done here now. You've set things in motion. We're going to wrap it up for you, how you've played the game kind of thing,
So I've had this conversation in my Discord, and this has been a conversation for the last couple of days, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. And so I wanted to spin my. I like the idea of like the idea. So what Deedsy, what you were saying is more of how much is player controlled versus how much you have, like how much you're forced to do something. Theme park being more you have to go on this ride, and Sandbox being more player agency and player control. And it sounds like you're very similar, Vertigo, where like it's more about player decisions is Sandboxy, whereas theme park is more the choice is taken out of the player's hands and they're put into the developer's hands to have an experience.
I'm going to ask you. Actually, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Which is better?
Neither of them are better. The problem about
that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Neither. It depends on the person.
It depends on the person. Depends on the game. Like the game itself. Like for instance, there's one game that was made recently. Was it Icarus by Rocketworks? The guys who did DayZ or with Team Rocket. Where like, if I remember correctly, a lot of it was you go to a planet and you start doing things. You have a mission, but it's just like, here you go. Here's this planet. You're supposed to do this thing, and then you're supposed to get back into your like pod and leave. And it was a great example of like, there is elements of Sandbox there, but it's still point A to point B. RimWorld is one of my favorite games of all time. And it has an end game. Like there is a goal you're supposed to achieve in RimWorld, which is the ultimate antithesis of what a sandbox game typically is, where it's just like there is no goal. You just do what you want. So the reality is that, in my opinion, Sandbox needs a little bit of a theme park in order for players to give players who don't have the ability to sort of play in the sandbox with their tools a goal. Like, okay, this is the goal, so I can work towards this goal. And
I have an excellent personal anecdote for that. Sometimes I have a problem with games that require me to build my own spaceships in like grand strategy games like Galciv 2. It's kind of like the grass is greener, but the grass is greener, but the grass is greener. Yeah. I don't know. Everybody's heard the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Well, what if you're surrounded by a fence on all sides and the grass is greener no matter where you look? So where do you eat?
Where do you go? Yeah. Which part of the fence do you jump over?
You could overload people with decisions, and I have that sometimes where I just get exhausted. In fact, I have a guy I play with, a friend, Dreadar, that when he comes home from work, he just wants to sit down and just shoot some dudes in Battlefield or Call of Duty or whatever, or Division. Yeah. He just wants to have like stuff just handed to him on a plate. And if I get this way too, where I sit down and I try to play a game like Factorio or Satisfactory, there's just so much stuff going on, and there's so much stuff you have to do.
There's a term for it. It's called choice paralysis, where you have so many choices that you cannot choose one or the other.
And sometimes I just want a game where I just have a curated story on rails handed to me, like Expedition 33. Sure, you have some free roam areas, but
I think that's part of. We've said this before, and I've said it on some of my videos as well, that can be quite daunting about Star Citizen because the tutorial's crap.
Oh yes,
like
it teaches you how to drink water and eat a burrito and then fly. You don't even teach you how to fly. It just hands you a ship and says, "Just go for it."
Yeah. So many people are just going to go, well, what do I do now? I've got this. They probably got the Aurora Mark II because it's the Citizen Starter Pack right now. It's like 40 quid or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. Like if I hadn't been up on the project, if I hadn't looked into it, if I didn't know anything like that, you look at the website and you go, well, this is telling me I can spend UK money, 40 quid here, or I can spend £15,000 and remortgage my house to get all these things. And that's where the sandbox is scary. You know what I mean? Obviously,
where do I go? What do I do? How do I make money? What's the best ship?
I mean, exactly. Vertigo, you and I have had this, and I'm sure you've seen this in your comments before, Deedsy, is when you have a new player come in and say, what is Star Citizen? What do you do in Star Citizen? And it's really hard to be like, whatever you want, man. That's the point of the game.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I tell. It's like it's a sandbox experience. You just
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, but-
more of a sandbox,
but that
I should say.
That will make people go kind of like click off, like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. What's the goal of the game? Because like people are used to
You make your own
a
fun.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where, you know, I think we've all agreed that like Sandbox and theme park they don't have to be together, but it really depends on the game and what you're going for. And we'll talk a little bit about the balance next, about what the balance should CIG have. But I do think that we all come to the end understanding that like Sandbox is where the players have the agency. The way I like to put it is systems versus content, where the systems are the gameplay. So like a sandbox is where the systems are the gameplay, where you can go punch a tree, take the wood, craft a crafting table, use that crafting table to create better equipment. Now you're using your equipment to hit the trees to get more gear. You can, it unlocks the ability to start mining stone. So you then use stone, then you get better stone weapons. Or
That's
gear.
more of a theme park kind of thing. I would consider like you craft better stuff to mine better materials. Yes,
You just
you just said it was the most sandbox activity.
But the sandbox to me in Minecraft is like building stuff. Like you're building buildings and like using redstone to manufacture like weird stuff.
But you have a choice of what you're manufacturing and how you're manufacturing. The systems themselves.
And that's the sandbox.
That's the sandbox, because you don't have to necessarily you can make a bunch of different things if you wanted to. And then you can move on to use those tools, but the systems are the focus. Those systems allow you to do I can build a base, I can build a vehicle, I can do X, Y, or Z, versus content where like what you get is based off the content that's developed for you. So you have to go complete this mission to achieve this goal, to get this thing, you know, to unlock the +2 weapon of doom, sword of doom. You have to complete this raid in order to get the +2 doom sword to achieve your goal. And using another example, Dark Souls is not a sandbox. It is a theme park. It is just got sandbox elements where you can choose where to go, but you go fight the bosses. Like that's the goal. You work your way up. You fight. You're experiencing it in a specific way. But it has those sandbox elements, which allows you to make that choice to be able to choose: do I want to go with big sword guy, or versus like Halo, which is another theme park where you technically have different choices in weapons, but you're a spaceman shooting aliens.
You always get the rocket launcher or the rail gun at the specific point in the story
because you need it for
the rail gun.
With the illusion of choice, like the first Halo CE, Halo Combat Evolved, where the Silent Cartographer level. Sure, you have a lot of different paths you could ride around the island, but you're on an island, you can't leave it, and you still have to go to that one area of the Silent Cartographer to get inside of it, and then you have to go down to complete the mission.
Yeah.
So that's
similar to like the new Legend of Zelda games as well, like Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that. Like obviously, rather than traditional ones, it literally is just you dropped naked. Here's the world. Go pick up a tree branch and swing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The end goal is still the same. You still have that story at the end.
It's like you say, the illusion of choice, I think, isn't it? That
and that's fine.
As sandbox.
And that's the important parts about the balance of sandbox versus theme park. It's like every game has a different balance versus systems in terms of like where players make their own fun, players have that agency, versus where the developers themselves have agency. I think that's the best way of putting it in terms of all of us understand players have agency versus developer agency. And that's the difference between a sandbox and a theme park. So for those of you listening, that is the definition we're going with. You can argue in the comments if we're right or wrong. Please do, because this is obviously not a one-to-one thing. But I feel like we're hitting on something that the vast majority of players will probably agree on when they think about sandbox versus theme park. Because, I think ironically, a lot of people will say like Skyrim is a sandbox, and it's like, no,
kind of, sort of, depending on like depends what kind of side content you have installed. Yeah.
But like the fact that you can go anywhere you want is the sandbox elements, but
the
missions are always going to complete the same way. There's very few.
If
You
you
know.
build in a base, it's in very specific
Very specific
DLC
locations.
locations. It's everyone's got the bloody Mage's Tower or the Thieves'
Yeah.
Den and whatever it was that they added in Skyrim and that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's the illusion, but it's being
Yeah,
dropped
there
as
is also
the world, isn't
good
it?
discussion: open world versus sandbox.
Sandbox.
Sandboxes don't
Yeah.
have to be open worlds, and open worlds don't have to be sandboxes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people
Yeah.
conflate the two, where sandbox and open worlds feel like the same. So you
I
look
think
at an open world,
I think a
you go,
lot of
"Oh, yeah,
sandboxes
sandbox."
are open world,
That's true.
right?
And that's where
Yeah.
the conflation comes from. It's like when you see open world, they just go, "Oh, sandbox." It's like kind of. Witcher is an open world, but it has a story. It has it has characters and quest lines you go through. And yeah, there are some elements. Assassin's Creed is similar. It's just because it's not linear doesn't mean it's not a theme park. You know, we just associate linear because we say theme park, oh, like a roller coaster, like rails. So, all right. So our definition, and I'll say this again, is because some people are saying, "Wait, I missed it." Our definition, what we've decided, is that sandbox means player agency. The players get to choose how their gameplay experience is, versus theme park, which is where the developers decide what the player experience is. However much player control over the gameplay determines if it's sandbox or gameplay, or a sandbox or theme park. The more player choice is given to the players, the more sandbox it is. The more player choice is taken away, the more it's theme park. Okay? So, with that definition, I'm going to start with you on this one, Vertigo.
Okay.
Where should Star Citizen fall? This is where we're going to get into a big discussion. Should Star Citizen, should it be more theme park? Should it be more sandbox? Where is the balance, in your opinion, on where Star Citizen should fall in terms of sandbox versus theme park?
So here, okay. In order to make things easier on the developers, CIG should probably focus more on sandboxy activities. Sandbox stuff is generally curated by the players than it is by the developers, but CIG seems to be putting more theme park stuff in there with like Hathor, the ASD facilities, Rockcracker, tactical strike groups, Stormageddon. They seem to love these big bespoke theme park rides in Star Citizen that just kind of fall off.
Once you finish, I was gonna say I want to highlight this isn't a bad thing, right? Having these theme parks isn't necessarily a bad. These elements aren't bad things, unless
there is a downside to having this stuff, and the problem is we saw this. This is from, I think this is a demonstrable factual assessment that is very neutral. That will be supported by a lot of different people. I think there was a story when a news story. I think it was written by Jason Schreier a long time ago. I may be wrong. Back when the Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic, but the Old Republic MMO was first released, BioWare, I believe it was the developer of the Old Republic.
Yep.
They thought they had enough content for their MMO on release to keep everybody satisfied for a long time, but they didn't. They misread the power level of the NEETs that were going to play their MMO, and people were burning out within the first month, probably even quicker. They rushed the end game, and there was nothing left. People were complaining there's nothing left in the end game, and that's the problem with theme park MMOs. Was you cannot build more content than your community can consume. You can't do it fast enough, especially not AAA content. Maybe with AI these days, you can kind of cut some corners here and there and offload some basic art and assets and have them constructed, or maybe like copy paste shit. The community will always, the hardcore community in general, the people who play MMOs that have time to do it, they will consume your content faster than you can produce it. 100% of the time. And this is why Sandbox MMO Star Citizen should embrace. Star Citizen should embrace the Sandbox MMO, because the Sandbox is curated by your player base. And if you make it good enough, I point to like EVE Online, people play that all the time. PlanetSide 2, people are still playing PlanetSide 2.
Even though it's not
Rust.
an MMO, it's a massive multiplayer. And they have wipes to keep people interested, but I mean, Tarkov,
they're
DayZ,
the original, right? Arma.
Yeah.
Kind of another sandboxy game. Like you could do whatever the hell you want in Arma. Just load in the map editor and just like make your own scenarios.
Yeah.
When you let the player base curate the content, you basically just have to kind of just massage things like kneading dough. You just kind of have to like control the shape a little bit.
Deal with
CIG
balance,
had to do that. Yeah,
you know.
balance pass we had recently. They had to nerf the deadbolts. People are kind of pissy about that. That is why a sandbox MMO is better for CIG, right? It's easier for them to curate. It's easier them to build. It's easier for them to maintain. Now, theme park events are cool, right? I think everybody in this podcast can agree that tactile strike groups on paper is a cool thing.
When
Same
it works,
with
it's great.
Yeah.
It's
Hathor,
fun.
we fired the laser. It's the first time we fired that goddamn laser. Look at this thing. It's Apex Valakar, Storm again. That thing pops out of the ground, starts wiggling, spitting acid at you. Like, oh shit, look at it. I love the ASD sites in Stan.
They're cool. I love
the engineering wing. My
is your
favorite part. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I will keep saying that until CIG fucks that room up somehow.
Yeah.
But I love
the gravity
that
inverting
core.
is so cool.
Yeah,
that
gravity inverting.
Yeah. The
that was great.
hazards.
They need to do that. Yeah. Radiation
so cool.
hazards. NPCs have gotten a lot more deadly this patch. Don't. Ooh. I used to be able to do the Hyperion site by myself. Now I have to almost bring a second person. So they're so dangerous now. But what was the original question, Paul?
Star Citizen. How much sandbox versus theme park? What you're trying to say is, what I'm guessing is that they should be focusing on sandbox, but not just get rid of theme park. They should just focus the sandbox experience first.
We should have a little bit more sandbox in my opinion now these days, because you're going to have problems they're already having problems maintaining the theme parks. It doesn't fail every major patch, every couple of patches. Like something breaks. I haven't tried the Stormageddon. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with that, but they were having problems with the Apex Valakar spawning multiple times, and the Apex Valakar is radioactive, and when multiple corpses stack up on top of each other, they just produce this radiation field that kills you no matter how much red resistance you have. Or NPCs were over spawning. You'd kill one NPC in there, and then just like 10 more take its place, and just becomes an attrition, right? How much ammunition do you have?
You spawn into you get a mission, and like 4 different versions of that mission spawn at the same time. So you have 4 different scales of enemies attacking you, even in space. So you're like, oh great, I got 4 hammerheads I gotta take care of. I did not plan for this for a retrieval mission.
Yeah. Or like ASD facilities, the missions just don't work. You go down there to like retrieve some lab data from Yorit. I can't remember this guy's name, Yorit or something.
Yeah, Dr. Yorit.
And Dr. Yorit, and the mission marker doesn't spawn the thing that you need to pick up. The
door doesn't open at the end of Hyperion. That kind of thing is happening.
The door doesn't open.
Yeah.
And so that's where sandbox stuff is really nice, is because if you make a good sandbox, that kind of works. You just have to kind of massage it like dough. You just kind of have to like work out the rough edges and kind of smooth things over a little bit, as opposed to having to go in and maintaining 50 different goddamn rides. But that's kind of like my opinion. Like, what else we got?
That's
Who
fine.
else?
Same question for you, which is like, what level should CIG focus on versus sandbox versus theme park?
Yeah, well, I think I've said this on previous podcasts with you, Paul, that basically, I want to be the most boring man in the verse. I want my accounting software. I want to be paying people in an org, that kind of thing. I want to be like mapping it all out from a cozy office on my Carrick or something like that. I'm here for that sort of emergent gameplay. I want the miners to be bringing in the stuff. I want the traders who want to go off and sell that stuff, the crafters to be making stuff, to arming and repairing and refueling and all that kind of stuff. So we've got the gameplay loops are there. We've always said, and it's been said by everyone, they need the social tools, they need the organization tools in the game to just let us play in the sandbox. So the main thing is, yes, these theme parks are cool, but they are literally like opening every patch. It's like opening a new Disneyland, and then a week later they sack all the staff, and no one's there to maintain it. So it's well, yes. And when the ASD stuff came out, brilliant. I was FPS combat crazy for that patch. That was everything I wanted to do. That's all I wanted. I didn't bother hauling, didn't bother trading, whatever I was doing, just got dropped. And it was the same, obviously, patch after patch. And they worked. There was cool drops, there was cool story. It fizzled a bit at the end, but you know what I mean? And then they brought out like the Yormandy little mini boss. I say mini boss, it kicked the absolute teeth out of me multiple times, but you know what I mean? And then obviously ultimately like Stormbreaker, it was really cool to see the first time them sort of actually succeed in the theme park, leading all the way through to this grand finale, the Apex Malachar. So those elements are absolutely needed, but you don't want to just pick up the new toy for that patch and then drop it again and just go, well, it's never going to work again. So I guess that was cool. So they just need to balance that, because the reason you should be logging into Star Citizen, in my opinion, is to do that emergent gameplay, the sandbox gameplay. You've been given the tools to go out and, if you want to explore, let's do that. When we get that going, that kind of thing. If you want to be a bounty hunter, a PvP, whatever you want to do, that's the universe we want. But there's currently just this gameplay loop, that gameplay loop, this and that and this. Obviously, crafting's brought a few together. Obviously mining. Aligned. You sort of you're mining, and then the crafters making stuff for PvPers or FPS gameplay or fighter pilots, that kind of thing. So it's glued a few things together, but they still don't have that social tool, organization tools. That is the glue. That is the sandbox complete when that's all added together, in my opinion.
Well,
and
here's one thing I have recently. Like this is what a response I had to Just Get Escort Bros, because we had this bug where all the QV stations in Nyx had their waypoints exposed to everybody who had a quantum drive.
Mm-hmm.
And someone was telling them like, "Oh, I pay 800,000 credits for this mission to go to a rock cracker dungeon, and anybody could just show up." And guys were like, just get escorts. You're in a security org. I kind of laughed about that because the guy was complaining about like people showing up to gank him, and he's like in a security org.
Mm.
But in Star Citizen, we talk about you get the social stuff. In Star Citizen, it's so easy to respawn and get your ships back that there is absolutely no way to lock down a space long enough to do like one of the theme park contents, like Hathor. It takes way too. Once somebody starts realizing that, once the server realizes you're activating Hathor, you're starting to align the facilities, and you're getting the batteries ready to go. It's going to be impossible to actually mine the carry night, because people can just keep
unless you have a large enough org that can lock them down.
Basically, spawn camping people as soon as they come out of Quantum.
Yes.
That's basically how you have to do it.
Or invest more money, way more money than is actually worth in terms of the resources.
Exactly.
To extract.
Same with the rock cracker dungeons. You start one of those rock cracker dungeons, and someone realizes you're doing that, and they want to fight you over it, because, to be real, like the basis of PvP in most games is just fighting people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see somebody, you start fighting. And that's like the very bare bones PvP that everybody kind of goes with. I think a lot of people that complain about PvP want something a little bit more curated. They want people to kind of role play it a little bit, kind of play it up. Most people don't want to be bothered at all.
That's finding the balance, though, isn't it? That we've been saying, like you said, that Rockcracker, Siege of Orison, the Vandal, Tech Smugglers mission, and all that kind of stuff, the ASD facilities. There should be, I suppose, an option, I guess, like they kind of did with Rockcracker, didn't they? You could buy the
my point is that
edition pass.
my point is that we don't really have a way to lock down an area to prevent other players from messing with you to complete these theme park spots, which would actually kind of be a sandboxy-ish kind of thing, where you could lock down resources from other players or force players through a choke point that you could lock down, and then fighting over that choke point would be like a theme park thing, right? Having miniature wormholes that open up to like a rock cracker dungeon.
Yeah.
And then you can like put guards on that wormhole, and you have players that attack that wormhole, try to get to.
This would be more sandbox thing rather than theme park.
Yeah, that would be kind of like a sandboxy thing, not necessarily, but it would lock behind a theme park, right? You'd have like a theme park ride behind the sandboxy thing, if that makes sense.
Would you be if like so for instance imagine it like a jump point or something?
Mhm.
Like as in like it is in WoW, obviously the entrance to the dungeon.
Or they have them in EVE Online Jump Space, I think, where you have little wormholes that open up to like little pockets of space, and then players can claim those pockets for themselves. But there's a whole bunch of like negatives, like jump space is like in EVE Online is like less than 0.0 or something. It's like really nasty if you don't have the people to hold it.
Yeah, so they'd probably need to be like armistice zones, though, wouldn't they? Essentially, around those.
I want less armistice zones in Star Citizen. Like armistice zones should be relegated to the starting cities where people spawn initially. Or
no, I totally agree. Yeah, it's just obviously people are gonna. If they bring in these instances and they're selling it that you can have your curated single player or small group experience in, say, the Siege of Orison, but yet there's 16 Idrises parked outside the jump point to get to it, and no one can actually get through it. Like, that's where that's part of like okay,
that's a completely different discussion about RMT in Star Citizen, like the 16 Idrises or. Wicklow, or like even endgame MMOs have that problem where you have some character that's got like best in slot. So they have some warrior character with best in slot gear, and they go to like an open area, and they just start slaughtering the player base because nobody can match that player's power level in that area. Other MMOs have that problem where you just have a person or group of people that just have too much power.
EVE has that solution, though, which is
Concord, right?
Yeah, CIG could easily use the EVE solution, which is just like the UE shows up and just kills you. Oh, but we can defeat. No, you can't. They just make them invincible. Fuck you. Yeah.
And the thing with EVE Online, like from my understanding, if you find a way to actually defeat Concord or get around the Concord mechanics, you get banned for exploitation because it's like in the player's like code of conduct. If you find a way to like defeat Concord, that's an exploit and you get banned. You're not supposed to survive Concord.
No.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's the crime stat stuff, and then it's like the GTA style of getting 5 stars. You've blown up 17 people trying to enter the Siege of Orison. Yeah, you need to come and get spanked now, don't you? Really, by something, by the javelins rolling in.
Yeah, I want to loop this back around to Deedsy's original point, which was the org tools, right?
Yeah.
You can kind of do some org stuff with like Discord and Star Citizen, but Star Citizen being Star Citizen and just the current state of the patch, not a lot of people want to play right now. But if we can imagine a version of Star Citizen that was a little bit better to play, you could still get a good number of people together to actually do stuff. What are you going to do with your group, right? You're going to do theme park stuff. Yeah. It's kind of like my point. You're going to be doing like tactical strike groups to get like upgrades for your ships in the warehouse or the blueprints unlocked, or you're going to do tactical strike groups just to experience it a couple times. But what else are you going to do besides, Hathor, the Apex Valor, maybe contested zones? You just want to go down and lock a contested zone down, I guess?
I could argue, because one of the things they already have elements that they could, if they had these social tools, they already have elements in the game which would allow for this, which is player trading. If they had player trading, and if you get people together in the game,
you kind of already do that already.
But we have to go through
you send money to people.
Yeah, but you have to you go through a separate. There's no escrow in game. There's no central points where people can go. There's no player markets. Because if you had a group of people together,
it as well, didn't they? The amount of alpha UEC.
They've changed that. They reverted that a little bit.
They've reverted that back, have they? Right. Yeah. Is it unlimited again then? Now?
I think so.
Right.
I probably don't have enough UEC in my account to send to someone to try to test.
Yeah, I think it. Obviously, I know that killed some of the third party sort of trading stuff, obviously, and that
wasn't a problem. How much money you can send to somebody wasn't a problem. Like, it's an alpha. People who complain about I'm gonna have a little bit of a rant here. People who are complaining about how much money other people are having in Star Citizen need to shut the fuck up because it's an alpha. Star Citizen is Schroeder's fucking alpha. Okay, it's an alpha when it pisses me off, but when someone else gets mad because someone else has too much money, then it's real shit, right? No, fuck you. It's an alpha. Right? If someone is a billionaire in Star Citizen, it doesn't matter because CIG proved to us and everybody else playing or watching Why it doesn't matter, because they reset everybody's account in 4.8 because of the whiners. And it didn't mean a goddamn thing. Doesn't fucking matter. Until CIG stops wiping or they get to a more permanent state in the game, it doesn't matter how much fucking money somebody has. There's no economy to ruin. There's only you can't afford those fucking Valakar fangs on UEX, and you're butthurt about it. That's the only thing that's going on here. Rant out.
Bravo.
Brilliant.
But I mean, that's kind of my point, is that if CIG made the tools to allow players to trade, then large groups could get together to get the resources to either then sell those on the market or make the things with those high value resources and then put them on the market. And that gives.
I agree that player trading is a sandbox MMO activity.
And that would be a reason why people would get together to do that, because they could work together and then split the money afterwards with the process. And that's what I mean when the argument is like, that's what you could do right now if CIG had these tools in place. And that's what I think that's what Deedsy is trying to say, is that these tools are not just organization tools, they're also tools that allow you to interact with each other, to facilitate the emergent gameplay that CIG at one point was super psyched about. That's what they loved. They kept talking about emergent gameplay.
Yeah. But honestly, like if CIG added a version of the auction house from World of Warcraft, the players could already kind of do that already. Like you can do in-game chat, you can spam chat with looking to sell. You have third-party websites, you have Discords, you can spam.
Yeah, but I've never used UEX because I'm not gonna risk going through a third-party system, and there's plenty of players who are the same.
I've used it. I'm not talking specifically. In fact, I didn't even mention UEX. I've used UEX. I've also sold stuff straight to people in Star Citizen. Someone wanted a bunch of before 4.8 dropped. Oh, this poor bastard! Like a month before 4.8 drop, a guy is asking for he wanted a bunch of script and Wicklow favors in global chat. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, I have all that stuff. And he gave me 750 million credits for 50 Wicklow scripts. And I can't remember what else he wanted, but he wanted a lot of really high end stuff. But he had a lot of money to give me. I'm like, sure, I was a billionaire at the end of that. Yeah, but and then fucking 4.8 drops and wipes everyone out, and I'm just whatever.
Most players aren't going to engage in that loop.
You're right.
That exists because it's not a loop in the game.
Friction.
There's too much
friction is what you're talking about. There's too much friction for the average player to engage. This is why World of Warcraft gets shit on for we're going back to that casualization, right?
Yes.
The very bad word. Let's put a pin on this. The actual core problem that a lot of people have with this: accessibility. Right? Yeah. You make Star Citizen too accessible, everybody gets really butthurt about it because the casuals, Vertigo, they've ruined Star Citizen, right? Death with Spaceman, the flight model, the casuals, it's their fault.
But I think also people will point to theme park as being like, see, that's the casualization. Look, and it's really not just theme park. It's also sandbox elements, which will make it easier. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people mess up on, is that the sandbox can be a method to remove the friction of gameplay to increase player investment,
or the friction of not gameplay, or the anti-fun. Yes. Right? There is such a thing as negative fun in Star Citizen, and one of the things we're going to loop this back around what you started talking about is trade. Trade in Star Citizen is a gigantic pain in the ballsack. If you have something of value you want to sell, you have to go to a third-party website. You have to find a Discord. You have to spam chat. You have to find a web page somewhere to sell that thing, to find someone to sell it to, so you can make some money to buy that Connie Taurus you want, or that raft. So, or you want to trade for some materials so you can get a Wicklow special ship that you're really hot for. But CIG, in their infinite wisdom, they make everything physicalized, so everything's very clunky.
Yeah.
Right? And if you play other MMOs, you notice that they don't really do that kind of stuff, and for a good reason, because this clunkiness kind of turns off people.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, that's my point, is that someone saying in-game trading tools is not casualization. It is. because it removes the friction. It allows for more people to participate in it. And that's the definition of casualization.
Accessibility, right? It's accessibility, right?
Yeah.
You're making the game more accessible to the average player. A lot of people, like I said earlier, like my buddy Dreadar, he just wants to come home, sit down, shoot some dudes, have a beer and a pizza, right? Yeah. He worked hard at work. That's where you spend all your mental load, your physical, your body, where your body. When you come home, you want to relax. What do you do when you relax? You pick up a controller, you turn on the PlayStation, and you swing your sword at some dudes in Elden Ring until you level up to the point where you can beat Morgoth.
Yeah.
Right? Work is hard, play is fun.
Yeah. And I think you said it before, Paul, haven't you? The obviously we've talked about the physicalization of everything in Star Citizen, but the physicalize the marketplaces then. So you have to take all that stuff to your specific shop on whatever specific day, whether it's Orison, whatever it is. Like
I've said that they have these freaking event centers all over Stanton that they don't use except for twice a year, and it's even then it's only one location.
Year,
So why not use those as like a giant player market?
Yeah.
And I ranted.
Days. Yeah.
I ranted about Wicklow not being a shared player space.
Yeah.
I don't know how CIG would do it, but Wicklow really should be a shared player space where players could walk around and look at stuff with each other and interact with each other, because that's MMO stuff right there. That is sandboxy stuff, the social interaction, as Deedsy was bringing up. Those How do you meet people to sell stuff to in Star Citizen? How do you meet people to add to your? Do you bump into somebody in an elevator while they're traveling to there and just say, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?" "Oh, bye." Walked out of his elevator. Yeah. Assuming VoIP even works in Star Citizen.
Right now we are very. Right now we are in the in an experience which someone described, which apparently was used to describe WoW, like it was invented to describe WoW, which is we're playing alone together.
Alone together, I love it.
Yeah,
a single player MMO.
Yeah, we're playing alone together. We're playing our own games and our own worlds, and there are other people around you, but they don't matter because you're playing your experience, and all your experiences are pretty much the same.
That is an excellent description of some sandboxes where you're alone, like DayZ.
Yeah.
You can play DayZ potentially on subservers without meeting anybody, right? You could just kind of be alone into your little. You could have several groups of players in just one part of the map, and they just stay in that one part of the map and never run into each other, and they just gather resources, build a little base, and they're just happy doing that.
Yeah. But a thing.
So we definitely need, in order for Star Citizen to be more successful as an MMO.
Yeah.
As an MMO, we need social focus or social tools, not necessarily tools in the presence of or in the hands of the players. It would be nice, but we need social tools in the hands of the developers to bring players together to interact with each other. And I'm not talking about. And CIG seems to think that those
gameplay. Yes.
Not necessarily immersion gameplay, but social situations and social areas where players of similar interests can bump into each other and actually interact with each other, as opposed to just having really long tram times waiting to go to Siege of Orison, or really long tram times at Area 18. Because that's why a lot of MMOs have long travel times. That downtime allows you to bump into other players and meet other players and talk to other players. But honestly, who sets their spawn point at Area 18? Yeah, like I set my spawn point at Baishini Point. I never come back. Who does anything? I think I'm going to say something absolutely brazen here and controversial and bold. Who the fuck cares about persistent hangars anymore? Like, I almost never go back to my persistent hangar and do a goddamn thing in there. Like, I only use my persistent hangar as a gigantic goal net for when the patch drops. I just make it an assumption. Like, I go out to the verse and I buy a bunch of bullshit with my millions of credits that I earn playing Star Citizen as a full-time streamer, because thank you everybody for supporting me, allowing me to do this. I appreciate it. I'm basically a NEET that plays Star Citizen way too much, and I make way too much money. And I think to myself, I'm going to lose some components on the patch, so I'm going to go about like a fucking swarm of locusts, and I'm going to I'm going to buy up all the crap I'm going to need next patch, and then all that stuff is just going to get shoved into my persistent hangars inventory so that I could claim insurance on all my ships, re-equip all my ships, and then I could just fuck off into space and play Star Citizen and never think about this fucking hangar ever again. Who even cares about persistent hangars anymore?
That's a good point.
This is my second rant.
Yes, it is.
This fucking podcast.
What you're hitting at is another sandbox versus theme park issue, which is like, in a sandbox, that persistent hangar could be decorated. It could be set up into, and like that was the whole point of the persistent hangar, was that it could be set up any way you wanted to for whatever your purpose is. The problem is that persistent hangars suck. There's no space. Like there's these little cubbies you can put into place, but CIG is so obsessed with artistic, like, oh, we want to make sure that it feels like we want to create the scene for the players. And it's like, it's my fucking hangar. It should be blank. It should be me to paint the canvas, not you leaving fucking moving equipment in my goddamn hangar, which I didn't put there. So like, it's stuff like that, which removes the incentive to paint this canvas. And then on top of that, they suck at persistence. So
yes.
So you
like,
can't.
What's the point? Like, I lost all my materials I mined last patch, and it's just like, oh my god.
Some random Hornet ended up in my hangar on because like the instances got sort of glitched out, so the guy's Hornet ended up in my hangar. Even if it's not real, it's still there, and that was on Thursday. And today, when I logged in, it was still fucking there in my persistent hangar. But I guarantee you, if I put down a table in that persistent hangar, within an hour, that thing would be fucking like disappeared. And it's like, and that's one of the problems, is that if they focused on these sorts of sandbox gameplay elements, you would have people who would spend hours, days, weeks, months just crafting the perfect environment for their hangars if they gave them the tools. Like, I have a friend, Loken, who anytime there's a game about base building, that man is locked in. He is building, because he's an architect. That's his day job. He loves to do that sort of thing. So he's like, I'm going to design my base. And he's going to spend hours of the time doing that. And that is gameplay, and that will get people interested. And you know, a persistent hangar is the mini version of base building, and it was supposed to be. And that's one of the things, like, you're right. Why should it give a shit about a persistent hangar?
I would love to have my persistent hangar follow me around the verse. If I could get a, I think it's the, what's the persistent hangar? What's the hangars at Area 18? They're the crappy, like, I can't remember the name of them, but if those types of hangars, every time I called one of those hangars, my persistent hangar showed up and all my decorations showed up, and all that bullshit in that hangar showed up, just magically teleported across the universe. I'd be so much happier about that. Hey, it's my home.
Yeah, this is my home.
As a player, as someone who plays Star Citizen a lot, my home is usually my ship. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and
that's what I look at.
And that's the thing, is that, like, and that's another problem with ships, is that so many times, how many times have we had a ship that's designed to already be lived in? It's like, why am I walking into a ship where somebody else has already, like, fucked it up? Why is there scuffs on my ship?
Right. There's
brand new
shit smeared all over the interior of the Reclaimer, like literally everything. It's supposed to be a used ship, but can't I clean it up or something? Can I do to clean up the interior? Get all the dirty dishes out of the sink? I have
never bought a used car that had human feces smeared on the roof. All right, like, usually they'll clean up that shit before they sell it to me.
Yeah, usually.
So, and that's the thing. And as you're pointing out, it's like it's not just gameplay. And I think I'll go on my opinion on what I think is more needed. I think CIG should focus on sandbox gameplay, because it is the easiest to retain players. Yes. And I think we're all in agreement that it's like that player agency allows for players to do what they want to do. And as a result, there is less pressure on CIG to try to create content. And it becomes more of a special thing when a Siege of Orison is released, because you're like, oh shit, these people spent 6 months, a year working on this specific content. Yeah. We know it's going to be good because they've spent the time and effort and tested it. And so now we can play it and they can work on it and make it good. Either be it repeatable or just a one-time, this is awesome experience. and versus like trying to create one of those every month or every 2 months or every quarter, it becomes like.
And if they do try to keep, for an excellent example we have of Star Citizen just recently, Paul, the most recent Xenothreat.
Yeah,
I am exceptionally disappointed by the recent Xenothreat. Like, I hold up the ASD Hyperion stuff as like some of the best content CIG has released. Stormageddon, pretty decent.
Yeah.
Hathor, pretty decent. Contested Zones with
fun.
the executive hangars, pretty decent. Love the ASD facility. That's probably my opinion. Tactical strike group's pretty good. Xenothreat, the latest Xenothreat event we have was a disgrace.
It was a joke.
Just recycled content, missions we already have access to, rebranded, and they didn't even bother adding any voice lines to Dispatcher Walton.
Walton is just using the same standard voice lines. There's same nothing.
Standard voice lines.
And
we didn't even get Dooley back. Dooley's voice lines back. No. Weapons free, y'all. Even though I hate that line, it had a lot of charm to it for some people.
The problem is that CIG wants to do those events, and those events could work. But if you're going to use those events the way they should be used, they could reuse elements like they did, but then add a story to them or add consequences to them. Because that is also another sandbox element that Chris Roberts supposedly loves, which is acts like your actions have consequences, and those consequences will change the experience around you. That was one of the things that Chris really pitched when he pitched Star Citizen. Is he didn't like MMOs where everyone is the chosen one and everyone is going to go kill the Lich King and all that kind of stuff. He wanted to have more of a dynamic experience where the person who killed the Dread Pirate Roberts is a person who could be the Dread Pirate Roberts. Now, it's a good idea, not necessarily.
What was that gal's name? And when she stole the Polaris, and everybody kept killing her over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. I forgot her name, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't matter. But there was this gal in charge. Huh?
The one who kept calling you every time you killed one of her lieutenants and bitched.
Yeah,
like, how did you get my number?
Yeah. How did you get my number, you dumb
Amelia Boyd?
Dumb woman.
That's Amelia Boyd.
Amelia Boyd. Yeah. And here we are. Paul's like talking about, killing the Dread Private Roberts. That should be really, really special to be that guy who does it. He's the special guy. And it's just like, here everyone's killing Amelia Boyd. You warp into the instance with the Polaris, and you got like 12 player Idrises like shooting laser beams at that Polaris, and it just evaporates immediately. And it's like, oh, that's great.
But my point is that like Chris talked about those sorts of ideas. And those sorts of ideas work better in a sandbox environment. Actions having consequences, being able to build, because overall, I don't think Star Citizen should be a sandbox game purely because that's dumb. Star Citizen as a sandbox game doesn't work. Look at Dual Universe. That's an example of Star Citizen as a sandbox game. It fell on its face and imploded. It just, you cannot keep players interested. You cannot continue to keep like as much as they keep trying to say, we'll do a epic version of Space Engineers, and it always fails. It's like, it just doesn't work, guys. It's not a gameplay that works. Someone's saying, no, it was just crap implementation. I've seen this attempt multiple times in multiple different games. It's kind of like how everyone wants to make a GTA RP like clone, server, and it never works because it's always like, oh, well, you can be your own. You can be the like the mafia boss or build your own economy. They want to do like X4, but with like survival mixed with GTA, and I'm like, it never works because it's too much.
I'm reminded of a quote from Chris Taylor from a long time ago, where he said, I could make some of the most amazing games I could think of that will never sell.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the problem, is that ideas are a dime a dozen. What works is what works. And same thing with what was his Tony Blazinski? Ted Blazinski was his name. He did Cliffy B. Yeah, Cliff Blazinski. Everybody hates him because he has a mouth, but he made a good point about pitching games to executives, and they keep turning down all his good ideas. And it's just like, you could pitch a game about juggling chainsaws on trampolines in an arena, and that idea gets shot down. Nobody wants to make it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between games you can make and games that actually have a player base. Games that can actually sell to an audience, or games that can sell microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's where that theme park sells, isn't it? That's what it is. They need the flash, the spark to give people the idea to come back. Whether it's
exactly,
CIG have that also the unique
And
opportunity with the ship sales as well. Like how when they obviously they drive for the new ships every patch, like, and well, how is that ship gonna impact the emergent gameplay is one of the ways that
well, in the case of the
that should be
Basher,
it,
like
isn't it?
it emerges in your elevator. Like not on top of the elevator, like it's in the elevator. You have to
inside the
figure out how to
elevator.
pull it out, like King Arthur, right?
But-
If you manage to get the Basher actually pulled out of the elevator without having to resummon it, like they crown you the King of England. I've been told.
No, but I mean,
No, I can confirm that. That's correct.
God, the
Yeah.
Basher that's a completely different discussion there. But
I know.
those theme park elements are also ways of promoting the game. Be like, hey, look at this, like tactical strike groups. Go do a trench run. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like you could look at this, they're doing a trench run. Oh, well, look at this. This is cool. You could do this in game. And people go, oh, that's amazing. And then they pop in and they want to do that. But then they also realize that there are other things to do. There are sandbox elements. You can just do the event and be like, I'm cool with it. Or you can go beyond that. And I do think that those theme park elements, I always like to reference. I played WoW as my first MMO. And I played it when it first came out, and I got to like level like 35, 40, and then just sort of stopped because I never got into a group or anything.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of months or like a year later, I hopped back onto WoW because I hadn't played in a while. And I like warped into a city, and there were like the highest level you could get at the side, like 60 or 70, were running through these like this like starter city. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And there were these like epic level enemies that were just roaming through the cities. And I'm like, this is a starter city. What do you mean there's this insanely like high like mob rolling through this city? And I looked above, and there are these giant pyramids flying over the cities. And I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't paying attention to the game. I just was trying to see what the game was. And that moment made me go, oh, these games can change. They can evolve. That's cool. Yeah. And that's what really got me to invest more time into MMOs, was this sort of and that was an event. That was be a theme park event. It doesn't actually like change anything, and obviously it would revert back, but that was sort of I think it was like one of those events that was leading to the Lich King expansion. And it was that sort of event is sort of a cool idea. And CIG has never done something like that, despite being like in a game that could do that really well. Like Xenothreat could be a thing where everyone is being attacked. Xenothreat shows up and is pulling people out of Quantum. They're hanging out outside of stations, and they're telling you through comms like just random Xenothreat wildlines as they're attacking you. And it's like, what the hell are these guys doing? Who these guys are? Why are they attacking?
That's it though, isn't it? They could work it out in a way that like impacting supply lines, but galactic like trade embargoes, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like if you want to go full Star Wars Episode 1 about this, do you know what I mean? But Orison gets besieged, kind of thing. And there's Xenothreat interdiction ships, there's things blocking trade routes between Area 18 and Microtech, that kind of thing. There's so many ways that these theme park events can impact the sandbox gameplay, and that's how it should be done. You should still log on to Star Citizen with the intent to go mining, to go exploring, to go shooting people, whatever you want to do, and that theme park impact your sandbox gameplay. That's the way that they should do it. They should implement it rather than just say, go here, do this, or rep grind for this. That rep grind should give you access to new potential gameplay loops, or better places to sell you stuff, better places to mine stuff. I
think the reputation system just needs to be upgraded entirely. Like
100%,
really
100%.
change how the players interact with the game. Reputation should be a big concern for every player.
And that's an example of a system being important. Like I don't know if that's necessarily Sandbox or not, but that system itself can be used as a leverage to improve both Sandbox and theme park gameplay. And so like, I think we're all kind of in agreement that like CIG should probably be leaning towards more Sandbox than theme park, because it's just easier for CIG to maintain interest. And on top of that, give the people making the theme parks more time to actually make it matter. You know, this Xeno threat, as I agree, as somebody who loved the first Xeno threat, this was a travesty. This was just Amelia Boyd and the Frontier Fighters, but with an Idris instead of a Polaris. It was just shit we've already seen, and missions they've just sort of lazily scrapped together and be like, this is an event. It's like, this isn't an event. This is just missions that you just reskinned. Like, which is fine if you actually are going to give me consequences, pursue the story, make other people go, oh, Xenothreat are bad. Oh, wait, if we don't do these Xenothreat events, something bad will happen. You gotta go defend this planet in Helldivers, otherwise, we'll lose access to X, Y, or Z. Like that sort of thing. Like
those kind of like the Helldivers map, like, the events in that, it obviously gave you the, fighting back, taking the systems, that kind of thing. That kind of event, like, whether you're, the line go up stuff that we've taught, the most successful times that Star Citizen has is always a line go up sort of thing. And when they're saying that this is Xeno threat sort of thing, rather than just being a server-wide mission that's shared to everyone and no one has any clue what it actually is about unless you actually read into it and get stuck in and involved, like, say, look, this is what the crack is. They've got hold of Area 18, they've got hold of Microtech. We're going to need resources, we're going to need ships, we're going to need escorts, we're going to need all this kind of stuff to fight
mercenaries,
them back. Mercenary, this is literally a player's call to arms. You get that a patch, every 3 months, every 6 months, something like that, a big universe level event. People are going to drop money. They're going to jump into the game. They're going to, obviously, streamers, videos, everything it's just been a constant thing.
And it could just be the same missions we've seen time and time again.
That's it, yeah.
If it has an impact, it's a mercenary mission or like a kill, like things mission, but it's around the orbit stations, like the stations above the cities. So now it's like, these missions are happening, but you just have to. And they did that a little bit at one point for Xenothreat, where they had like or was it a lockdown? The lockdown stuff.
The Ninetales lockdown.
Where some planets or some stations, you just had to deal with, like, they were going to attack you if you were there. So.
Yeah, that was the Ninetales lockdown, and they wanted more of that. They wanted it to be system. This was Tony Z's kind of like talking about this. They wanted to have systems where if you ignored the pirates too much, they'd eventually get bold enough where they would lock down and ransom like an entire station.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
You had to go in and pirate. You had to go in and fight the pirates to push them back, and that never materialized.
Yeah, but if they frame, if you're coming into a patch with that framework, but then you are still using the same bounty missions, the same hauling missions, the same mining, the same gameplay loops that people are going to play it anyway. But then you bracket it and frame it with new loot, new threats, systems, that line go up, consequences. Exactly. It just makes the game, it just gives you a different reason. Because if you're doing, you can get bored if you just do hauling, you mining. If you are doing the same outpost missions and that kind of thing, it can get dull. But when they then lead me to get better rewards because of this new event, I will smash out as many hauling missions as I can in whatever in that month that event is running, because I want the purple max live tractor beam or whatever comes out. You know what I mean? It's rewiring people's brains to do the same shit but to get different rewards.
The problem is when you try to do it lazily, like they did with Xenothreat, it's like people just don't care. And most of the people were playing it just so they can get the stupid rewards, and then they stop playing.
I'm not even like, oh my god, like, how do you make a capital ship fight boring? Right? Like, just have it teleport all over the place while you're trying to shoot it or board it. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's no threat to it.
I'm sorry, I don't want to get started on this because it's going to be...
we should wrap up this discussion, because I think we've had a good discussion about, like, Star Citizen Sandbox versus theme park. I think in general, none of us want to throw away theme parks. And I think that theme parks have a space in the game in Star Citizen as an element that will attract certain gamers. They're like, what do you do in Star Citizen? Go kill this Idris. Go do a trench run. Go fight a giant worm. You know, go activate a weird space experiment. You know, like you know, these sort of things have a way that can help, but the sandbox elements need to take the priority. And CIG has the weirdest thing, and this is I'll end off with this and we can kind of move on from here because we're already at like an hour and a half. The weirdest feeling is that it felt like CIG was finally focusing on sandbox when they introduced crafting, because suddenly this sort of elements of like, well, you have to go off and do these missions to unlock these blueprints that you can then you have to go get these resources. It's like all of a sudden there's this element where CIG doesn't have control over what the fuck I do, and I can do something and then achieve a goal at the end of it, and it's entirely up to me. It's like, oh, this is the direction you're going to go. And they were doing that with the initial, and then they added more stuff you could construct. And then since like 4.8, it's been like, okay, we're done. No new loop. We're not going to connect anything in. We're not going to really do any social stuff. We're not going to do any new upgrades. We're just going to give you some new blueprints here and there. It felt very much like and we're done. Enjoy. And not can you build off this? Can you continue this rotation? Can you like maybe build up these tools so that we don't have to rely on the next patch to be able to get the cool thing that the game that we want to do? Just like,
I think, like when crafting dropped, it's like, it was quite, I think my advice in my video was literally just to get, first you're going to need blueprints. So just go play the game. Like, look at the description. Just do the things maybe you wouldn't have normally done. Go
download Mr. Kraken Star String so you can see what blueprints drop from what missions.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Install a third party. Go to a third-party website. Install third-party software for Star Citizen, and then use a third-party website to track all your progress. It's just
yeah, exactly. So it was.
I would love to be able to craft blueprints.
Yeah.
Through science, that's supposed to be a gameplay loop in Star Citizen, or being able to actually physically pick up blueprints as a data pad and trade them with other players or give them to other players.
Yeah.
And those elements were like possible things they could move towards, but they just sort of stopped. Like the fact that I was actually playing missions that I didn't give a shit about 2 years ago, that was like, oh, now I'm playing the game. Like it's a sandbox element that's getting me into go play the theme park. It's like, okay, so I'm at my Chuck E. Cheese and I need to get these damn tickets so I can get the thing. So I'm going to go play your stupid fucking whack-a-mole game so I can get the ticket so I can get the thing I want to get. It's not a new idea. You know, I'm giving the choice, but I'm just like, well, you have to go do our gameplay. And it
making
gets
them
players
like
invested.
loopholes.
Yeah,
like loopholes, like what you'd get like from raid bosses. You know what I mean? You'd farm a raid week in, week out in WoW, hoping to get the fucking special staff, or you know the you are like whatever it is. Whereas the missions give you, yes, I might want the Morozov armor, or I might want the specific scalpel rifle. You know, so this mission didn't do it. Okay, shit, I'm gonna go do another one. I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to keep doing it because I absolutely want this blueprint, and that's keeping people hooked. It's giving you that.
It's almost like it's a fucking game for once, and that's
who'd have thought.
and that's the thing, is that like these sandbox elements are the things that can drive players to play the game, and it means that you can rely on things you've already produced, which means it's less of a. You still got some problems, like I know like the Bit Zeros missions broke, so like a lot of stuff were just not accessible. Excuse me. But those it would still like move players to play the game more. And I think for whatever frustrating reason, CIG just kind of stopped working on that because they were just like, it's not as important. Either they're not making enough money from that, or they like hit a wall somewhere, or they're waiting for something else.
I can tell you Squadron 42 for one is sucking up a lot of
true.
Like a lot of eyeballs
resources
and internal resources. A lot of eyeballs, ears, and brain power is going to getting Squadron 42 done. Maybe this year, I don't know. I'll believe it when I'm playing it. And theme park stuff is a lot more sexier and easier to make sizzle reels for the YouTube's, Twitch, Instagram.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, the theme park, when we talked, obviously, like you say, an hour and a half, we haven't actually mentioned Squadron.
No.
Like some people in the chat have sort of dotted into it as saying that that's the theme park. I mean, that's the epic ride. That's
the Chuck E. That's the pizza parlor attached to Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the Star Citizen experience, but it's not the tickets gameplay loop where you play the games, the whack-a-mole game to get the tickets so you can buy the iPod, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's they're gonna well, you'd like to think, obviously, with Squadron supposed to be coming out this year, that they should know how to do this theme park shit. It's just making it work in an MMO scenario, like you say, to make the sizzle reels, to do a single player curated experience with the illusion of open world. Obviously, it's not going to be that the case, you know. That's where they can make it thrive. And then they need to adapt those elements into a way that it interacts with the universe of Star Citizen and brings people, when you finish Squadron 42, it should be 90% of players clicking the yes, I want to install Star Citizen button and pay whatever the fuck because I am absolutely sold by this curated story. And now I want to go live in this universe that you've painted.
I want to play more games by Chris Roberts. Yes, install Star Citizen for me. But not everybody who's going to enjoy Star Citizen is going to play Squadron 42.
Single player versus MMO. Yeah.
Slightly different audiences, but
like that's one of the things where like I know that the developers have said in the past they kind of want to do like a 1 to 2 hour opening experience for Star Citizen, which should mirror Squadron, where it's like you have cutscenes, you have characters you meet, and everyone goes through this opening sequence where players where we can walk you through. And did they do that?
Multiplayer, I could point to an excellent example of that for a game I didn't really enjoy that much, but had an excellent opening sequence for the multiplayer, which was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Where you did have some story content that you launched into, and then they added more chapters as you kept playing. But there was a hook for the first couple hours. For the first 5-10 hours, there was definitely a story chain missions that they would kind of shove you through that taught you how to play the game. Got you exposed to the world, made you run all over the fucking place and get the map explored a little bit. And Star Citizen needs something like that.
It does. It needs an optional.
It's just not ready yet.
It needs an optional for that, because that's the other thing is that no one's gonna want to do that every patch. Where it's like you know,
you're right.
Now you're gonna be forced to play 2 hours of a single player experience. It's like I want to go my MMO. Please let me go.
So it needs to be tied to reputation. It needs to be like, so everybody would, after a reset, everybody has to go through it to unlock the missions, right? And it has to be tied to a single source system like Stanton or Terra, or it needs to be a newbie system. You choose this system as your spawn point, and you have to do the story content. But if you choose Pyro as your spawn point, it just opens up the game for you. You know, you have the yes, show me the tutorial. No, I know what I'm doing. Send me someplace else.
Option. There needs to be an option for someone to be like, I know what I'm doing. All right, I have the keys. Don't talk to me about the ancient secrets woman. I was here when they were being created.
Don't quote the old magic to me. I was there when it was made. That's Lord of the Rings quote, baby.
No. Land of Witch of the Wardrobe.
Really? Oh, damn it! You're right.
It was Aslan who says that. Yeah.
Narnia.
Narnia.
Yeah. Chronicles of Narnia.
Brilliant.
All right. But I think we had a good discussion, and we're gonna move on to the question and answer session. We only had 2 HCVertigo rants to go through, so that's an improvement. It only set us back about 10 minutes. Make sure you check out Deedsy, check out HCVertigo on Twitch and YouTube for Vertigo, and everywhere else HCVertigo, and then YouTube for Citizen_Deedsy. And of course, if you like this, join us live at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the Podcast. We do this live on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you join us live, join the chat here, and of course, optionally, ask your own questions, because we're going to be rocking into the question and answer session, the After Dark section, where we take questions from the audience. Those of you listening on the audio podcast, you'll just hear a quick transition. We'll be right there. Those of you watching on YouTube after the fact, that will be a separate video that I'll release later this week or in early next week. And for those of you watching here live, we'll take a few minutes to go grab something to drink, use the bathroom, and when we come back, we'll take your questions and answers. But until then, like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black. And we're back with the question and answer session, or the After Dark section, where we take your questions, or the questions from the audience. And this is from the episode where we talked about Star Citizen Sandbox versus theme park gameplay. What's more important? What should CIG focus on? What is it in the first place? If you missed that, good discussion. Only 2 HCVertigo rants. Right above Deedsy's head, you click that link, and it'll hit that if you're watching this on YouTube. If you do enjoy this and you do want an audio version, we do have a Spotify version. It goes on Spotify and a bunch of other podcast formats and audio, and it goes up pretty much right when I'm done. Like when I finish with this, I put the sections together and I post it up within a day of it, so you can always take a look at it if you want to. For the YouTube stuff, I have to kind of space it out a little bit more because the algorithm is stupid and does not like me posting multiple videos at once. So I have to kind of drip it out a little bit.
Gotta space them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
you're being too productive, Paul. Fuck you.
Can't have that. Can't have that.
So we've got Deedsy and Vertigo. Make sure you check out Deedsy at youtube.com/Citizen Deedsy. And of course, check out Vertigo on Twitch, YouTube, anywhere you can find HCVertigo. With that being said, let's pull up the first question. If you are watching this live, if you want to ask a question, make sure you have the question in brackets, so I know that you're asking a question. So the first question is from Pictish Kelp, who asks, "Hey y'all, Nix One hearsay. Nix One is hearsay to come out this year with new tech planet-wise. If it happens and works, what effect do you think will it have overall?"
So new planet in Star Citizen. What effect is not going to have anything? No effect.
No, it's going to have the new. Shit. It's going to have the new planet tech, which means it'll look cool.
Yeah.
But without Starchitect, and it won't have any Starchitects. Nix One, it doesn't have any like locations, pre-made locations, as far as we know. Is they don't.
It probably will. They'll put some crap on there that's been there for years. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's been habitable for a long time. Look at these ASD facilities nobody knew about."
Yeah,
right.
What they might do is like some facilities which are like old attempted terraforming facilities now overgrown or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I don't think they'll have. I don't know.
They'll put some theme park shit on there, I guarantee you.
Yeah, eventually.
They'd have to, otherwise, what's the point? You know, what I mean, they've showed off the Genesis.
I don't know,
system.
Sandbox.
yeah.
Players show up and just kind of do things on planets, but there's not much to do on planets besides
without
missions.
Mining a few surface level rocks and not being able to build a base or do the shit that you can do in like No Man's Sky. There's the literal thing would be to just fly down and go, well, the Genesis system looks pretty good, doesn't
Basically, space tourism. Touring, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
We have shows that actually have that.
There could be some missions that you go down there to do, but like I don't like without outposts or the Starchitect system, I don't know if it'll matter. It's mostly going to be the big thing about Nix One and the Genesis system is that it's a bonus for everything going forward. It should be hopefully look better. Hopefully be a little bit more efficient, be supportive of the new weather system, and allow for Starchitect to exist and base building. It's sort of the equivalent. It's the planet equivalent of like server meshing in the sense that it is the bedrock upon which all of these future elements are supposed to be there. So,
well, if they're ever going to make it to, 100 systems in the initial Kickstarter, it needs to work. They
need to be able to quickly pump out these things and quickly make like points of interest and all that sort of thing.
100%.
I mean, why not just have a few empty planets, just nothing on them? Right? You don't have to put. You don't have to have crap on top of the planets. You just have a sandblasted moon that has nothing but a little bit of iron in the surface.
Well, you're gonna need it, aren't you? For this is when base building comes in. You're gonna need these. You want the players to make this planet habitable, a civilization, right?
Yeah, that's what Nix One should be. Is it's just an open canvas for players to plant down and build their future.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree 100% with that too. That's part of the sandboxing stuff is base building. Rust does that very well. DayZ does that as well.
Yeah.
And the open world PvP, which is also part of sandboxing. I know some people don't like it, but players running into each other and taking exception to the existing with each other, that generates conflict and that generates free content
Mm-hmm.
for the players to consume, and that CIG doesn't have to curate that. What do they call that?
Golden Path.
No, there's a word for immersive or not. It's that content, that buzzword that developers were throwing around for years.
Not immersion, not
excessive, immersive.
not
It's a word. I got it on top of my tongue.
emergent.
I can't think of immersion gameplay. Thank you.
Okay, immersion gameplay. Yeah, I always like to say immersion. It's like getting yourself immersed in something. Yeah, I mean the reality is that immersion gameplay is cheap if you have the systems to make it. Because once you have the systems, then immersion gameplay happens on its own. You don't have to do anything. It's a set it and forget it thing. We had an entire episode on this, which you should watch.
Yeah, right.
About how Sandbox gameplay is actually pretty good.
100%. That's how it should be. That's what Nick's one should be, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Parker XGPS asks, does the game need more foundation in place to really build systems and themes?
Does Star Citizen need more development to be a better game? Yes.
Yes. But it doesn't necessarily need more systems right now for some things. Like, there definitely needs to be a system in the sense of like social systems. But the idea of having an impactful event, like having Xenothreat, but a line go up Xenothreat where they reuse some aspects, they could have done that. That is entirely within their toolbox right now. They just didn't either have the time or care to do it. They just were like, let's bring Xenothreat back. Here you go. You know? Yeah. So. But yeah, they definitely need more stuff. Parker XGPS also asks, would CIG rather poop gameplay be a theme park ride, or do we in it a sandbox like Cats? Your preference?
I would say Sandbox. Sandbox is better for Star Citizen.
Yes, Star Citizen. For those of you who don't know, Vertigo, Darge, and I had a episode of Captain's Table where we just talked about poop gameplay. Because we joked about how insane and stupid pooping in Star Citizen is. We're like, could you imagine some poor bastard having to sit there in a mocap suit and just like fully to try to fully simulate taking a shit, and then some poor animator having to like what's the difference between a solid shit and diarrhea, and like having to have all of this as like, oh, this is your gameplay, this is your job in video games is to make like realistic poop physics. Thank you. So
it's immersion, Paul. It's immersion.
Because of that clip, it went semi-viral. We decided that we were going to do when Saturday fell on April 1st, Darge, Vertigo, and I did an entire April 1st Captain's Table that was just poop games. Hey, it was Star Citizen.
Citizen. A shit post, if you will.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Taking it super serious. Escape asks, question, what could be better Sandbox gameplay than Pyro Faction Warfare? I don't know if that's necessarily Sandbox, though. The idea of working for one group or another to like take or
Is it a land? Is it like, would it be built as like a land grab? Would it be like we were saying earlier about like hell divers and stuff? So you're taking stations, you're taking land, you're taking
kind of like like I said. Sometimes you do, and we talked about this earlier. Sometimes you do have like stuff that developers put in that blur the lines between what's a theme park and what's a sandbox. And
I think it was
again, our definition goes down to how much agency does the player have, and how much agency does the developer take away from us, and how much do they reserve for themselves.
So they introduced that as like the patch, like we were saying in the main show, that like the framework where you're going to be repeating the same missions, blah blah blah, but you have a line go up and end goal to get there, whether that's the faction warfare. So what happens at the end of the patch? Like if you take 95% of Pyro, if you take all of Pyro, is that it? Where's the consequence? What's the reward? What's the consequence? As
I would say, that's like that idea is a little bit more theme boxy, or not theme boxy, right?
Theme box. We come up with a good word. The theme park. It's more theme park, but it does have sandbox elements because it can kind of just pop up anywhere. And
Yeah.
So the players have more of a choice in the matter.
And that's if we're running kind of like a persistent universe that's very organic and very feels like something that would you'd actually live in. Like the Ninetales lockdown makes sense because that's something pirates actually did back in the Age of Sail, like the 1700s and 1400s.
Just sail to a port. You're like, give us all your money, or we'll shoot.
Yeah, they would
literally
ransom off entire villages and towns on the coastlines because there was no way to get messages out back then.
Yeah.
In any reasonable amount of time. So one ship with a bunch of cannons sails up to a place on the coast that doesn't have a fort with a bunch of cannons in it or any soldiers stationed there. And they could just like, okay, we own this town now and we're gonna pillage it. And there's a bunch of bad words I don't want to say right now, but
yes,
they can do the bad things. The bad things pirates would do. Pirates would do a lot of bad things to everybody. And that's how a lot of pirates made their money. And then the crown would have to send out people to stop the pirates from doing that kind of stuff. And that could be part of the Sandbox universe if this stuff pops up organically and just kind of just generates by itself, or there's like a timer in the background if no pirate attack on the edge of the pyro gateways, pyro gateway on the sand system, if there's no pirate attack currently happening every 30 days, one happens and that pops up a mission to stop it.
And if they don't, then it gets taken, and then you get shot at as you're exiting the jump. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's all good ideas, but I think the question is like, would that be Sandbox gameplay? And really, the question isn't. The reality is it doesn't matter if it's Sandbox or theme park gameplay. What matters is that does it support the gameplay that is engaging and people can play in. And I think the repeatable gameplay stuff is got a place, it's got a point to it, even if it's not purely Sandbox, simply because it allows for players to get invested in a game. So like faction warfare is good, but it needs to have a purpose. It needs to have consequences like, oh, you're going to go fight for the the headhunters. Well, you ain't talking to Citizens for Prosperity anymore. You ain't talking to the who are the Rough and Ready. You ain't talking to the Fire Rats anymore. Like, you've chosen your side. You're got that consequence where that side starts losing stuff. You're going to lose access to those locations. But again, that requires consequences for the choice, which CIG can't really do right now because you'd be
locked out of a whole. You'd basically be banned from the game if they really torque down the reputation system to support that kind of idea.
So nobody
would have talked with you.
They need to improve the reputation system and start doing things like,
we need more solar systems. We need more places that are lawless that UE doesn't have control over. Places that if you're part of Xenothreat, nobody cares. Do you think the Banyu cares if you're part of Xenothreat? They'd probably sell to anybody.
Yeah,
that's it, isn't it? That you haven't got enough places to hide in such like that, so that having a negative reputation in Stanton basically locks you out of 98% of the game. So
and that's one of the reasons why we probably don't see a lot of sandboxy stuff, because there's just not enough space to really have a lot of good sandbox gameplay.
Yeah.
You could have like base building, like literally right now. There's enough space within the stand system on all the moons and planets that every person, every account, I think we're up to like 6 million now. Every person can have 10 square kilometers to themselves somewhere in Stanton, and you probably still have enough space left over for another 12 million people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space. It's really more about making it so that it matters and that it works with the systems. It's more of the back end systems aren't there yet, like the Genesis. Because like one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is I can almost guarantee you that once Nyx 1 and the rest of the Nyx planets are added in with new Genesis system, they will be the only places you can build initially until they can update Pyro and Stanton and the older planets and moons to the Genesis system. And that's not going to be we're all done. It's going to be like these specific moons and these specific planets have been redone. And it's this patch.
How would they do it though? How do you think they'll do it in sort of the live service sort of way? I think it's going to put like, oh, Stanton is closed for maintenance. Please, please accept, please work in another area or follow the diversion sign. You know what I mean? Like,
are they going to close jump points close? You can have jump points collapse randomly. They could have like the Kurthak invade with wormhole weapon technology. They have closed standoff, and they're ransoming it.
What CIG is going to do, if the question is like, what do they do if like people try to build on like Daymar. It's just not going to let them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they won't be able to access the building techniques. It's just, they'll be like, well, what's going on? It's just like, it's not available. Like, you literally can't build on here because it doesn't exist. Until they actually put those in. They won't actually put in an actual, like, in-universe thing. They're just going to, like, wait until those things are updated. But even then, they said that, like, Stanton, for instance, you need to have a permit. You need to, like, buy the land, like a land marker from the UEE to be able to build there. So you need to have, like, to pay taxes and all those sorts of things.
Would it be the original? Wasn't it the original Pioneer?
Had
the land thing with it,
grants.
didn't it, or something? Yeah. When they re-released it, or they put it back on sale recently, it didn't have that, does it? So it's it'll be interesting how that all works out. Yeah.
All right. Next question from 77 Time asks, is a dictionary definition available, or is this all subjective and gray area? Like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of things in gameplay, or not gameplay, with the gaming industry, there is no defined definition of sandbox versus theme park gameplay. There are many different definitions, and it's very subjective. That's why we had to come up with this whole, like, what do we say is sandbox versus theme park, so we can have a discussion, because like, you know, 77 Time himself was saying, like, oh, all single player games are sandbox and all multiplayer games are theme park, because, like, in a sandbox you have more options, so in single player games you have more options. And I'm like, I mean, I guess.
Here's my copy of Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. What is a sandbox? Let's pull it up.
Well, what's sandbox gameplay? That's the question.
Sandbox gameplay. Well, we'll start with sandbox, because that'll inform us what our correct opinion should be. Sanderling, here we go. It's probably a place where a cat takes a shit. So that's probably going to be the definition of a sandbox. Sand lance, sand lily, sand lots, sand man, sand flea. So we have to go the other direction. Sand blue stem, sand bind, sand blast, sand bar, sand bank. Bags, sandalwood. Where is it? There's no sandbox. A box, a receptacle containing loose sand. A shaker of sprinkling sand on wet ink. A box that contains sand for children to play in. I think the B definition here. A box that contains sand for children to play in. So a sandbox gives you a lot of creative freedom, because you get to, like, if anyone's ever had a sandbox as a kid, I've had a few over the years.
Do what you want.
You get, like, a pail and a shovel, maybe a glass of water, and you just kind of make cool stuff at it. Then you smash it, pretending you're Godzilla. The sandbox experience is really up to you to make the fun.
Yeah,
that's kind of the core definition, I think, of a sandbox. Is it's really it's your imagination and your agency. And if you're not having fun, well, you just suck at having fun then.
Yeah.
As opposed to a theme park, where I can look at the definition up for you here, because this guy's like, what's the actual definition, guys? Is there a dictionary? Yes, there is a dictionary. Okay, some of us have books. Books, they open like this, right? I know you sons of bitches that grew up in AI, the iPad children, don't understand what a book is, and us boomers have to teach you. Maybe Paul, we need to get one of those backgrounds of the dude playing those running games where they're jumping and grabbing coins.
Yes.
That's gonna be the next evolution of your stream, Paul. For the next
is the Minecraft death runs.
Yeah,
and Subway Surfer gameplay.
Subway Surfer, yep, exactly. Subway Surfer. I'll say theme park. I am taking this joke all the way to its orgasm.
The commitment to the bit is admirable. I love it. Just keep going, man. Keep going.
Theatrical theme. Here we go. Theo. I think a little too far. THE. I need an M. Then the theme song. Theme park. An amusement park in which the structures and settings are based on a central theme. So you don't build a theme park unless you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you go to a theme park, you pay to experience what someone else built. So someone else is defining your experience
fun.
in a theme. Yeah, someone else is defining your fun. Someone else is defining your fun, which is a good definition of a theme park.
Yeah.
And they hope you enjoy it, or you hope you enjoy it because you paid money to get it.
Yes.
Right.
But not everyone is going to like every theme park. Some theme parks people don't enjoy. Other people's do enjoy. and each theme park is different. Disneyland is not the same as Dollywood, and Six Flags is not the same as Knott's Berry Farms. Like they're all different in their own ways. Whereas a sandbox is a sandbox is a sandbox, and you have to kind of make it from there. So, all right, thank you for taking that bit all the way, Vertigo.
Yes, I mean, I have to demonstrate to my viewers and everyone else that watches me on Twitch that yes, Vertigo does read books, and he does enjoy reading.
He
books.
can, in fact, read.
Yeah.
That is.
And I like to be insufferably correct. The definition of nice, the actual definition of nice, exceedingly correct sometimes, to the point of being smug about it.
Love that.
This is the reason why we call him the Sultan of Stanton. All right, so Beat World Record 680 asks, is Valheim a sandbox, an open world, or a theme park? It is all three.
All three. It's literally
I don't have an opinion on Valheim because I don't own it. Haven't played it, so sorry, I have to back off.
Yeah.
It is there are many Valheim likes that have existed because of Valheim. Like what's the latest one? There's a pirate one that I played recently. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But it's in early access, but there's a lot of them. And to a degree, not exactly, but Crimson Desert is taking some points from Valheim as well. Ark Survival Ascended takes a lot of things from Valheim. The basic loop of Valheim is there is technically a story, but you go out and you build your own settlement. You go farm resources, but you also have to fight mobs and you have to go fight monsters. And there's more Windrose. Thank you. But there is more than just the sandbox elements. There is also things that the developers have developed for you to go do for resources and to achieve the story and push forward, and their gates in terms of progression and such. But
some sandbox games can contain theme park activities, and some theme park games can have like little tiny sandboxes off to the side that you kind of go through. GRPGs love fucking little sandbox shit off to the side. I was playing like near Automata, near Replicant. You had fishing mini games where you could go out and catch fish, and you had like little farming menu games off to the side, and it had nothing to do with the main plot of the game. It's just Persona like, hey, you can just do this.
Persona is famous for that kind of shit, where it's like, yes, you are playing this game, but it's also you're in a high school. You can go on dates, go hang out with friends. Like
exactly,
it's famous. That sort of thing.
Yeah, like they added they added fishing into Diablo 4, and it's like, why?
Yeah,
the Lord of Hatred the Lord of Hatred expansion came out, and it was like, oh yeah, cool, we're actually going to fight Mephisto, we're going to do all this, you're going to get all these new classes, this shit, and also, do you want to fish?
That was near Replicant for me. Like, we have this big bad turning people to sand, to dust in the background, just kind of like this big baddie, like kind of Mephisto in the background, that some big demon lord that's going to kill everybody. Humanity's dying out. And it's like, oh, by the way, you could just fish. You can grow some flowers if you want to give to your girlfriend. It'd be really nice.
But yeah, Valheim is that. Like, obviously, because you had to make your own server with the specific players, or like you had your own server and you could invite people in, so you have that full sandbox element. Like, you can, like, one of my friends made like a full-on foundry come factory to get all the top.
I'm sorry, what?
Like
what factory?
A foundry.
I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure what you heard, Paul, but I heard something.
He heard cum factory, so that's the reason why he's trying to say that.
I'm just like,
brilliant.
I mean, that was me back when I was in high school. Okay. How did you know my stage name?
CIG, you need to add cum factories to the game. That's what we're trying to say.
That's what it was.
I think my next 890 jump I buy is going to be called that.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. But I get what you're trying to say. But yeah, Valheim is is often seen as this open world sandbox, as this perfect open world sandbox.
Yeah.
But it's really not. It has elements of theme park in the sense that again, according to our definition, where like the players are fun is being driven by the designers. And it's going to point out the fact that, as we've said in the other video, there is this weird like no true Scotsman fallacy that people are like, oh well, there are sandboxes and there are theme parks. It's like there are both. They both exist in concurrency to each other all the time.
There's definitely games that are very much a theme park, and there's games that are very much it's very obvious that is a theme park, that is a sandbox, and there's some games that are like, I don't really know what they're doing here.
You are a mutt. I don't know what you're doing here with this. And then
exactly. There's many different dogs in the world, but there's many different species of dog, right?
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's the level of agency, isn't it? The player involvement, development agency. So I think, yeah.
All right. 77 Time also asks, will we be able to choose a role in Squadron 42? Pilot, engineer, medic, scrapper, trader? No.
I don't think so.
No.
You are a pilot for the UAE Navy. That is your job.
Yeah.
You are a fighter pilot.
Turret gunner turn pilot, aren't you? Isn't it?
Yep.
That's
just the tutorial, right? That's just the first level.
Yeah.
And that's going to be pretty much on par for like other Chris Roberts' properties. Like Wing Commander Privateer, Freelancer, those games, you had a lot of agency, but you were a spaceship pilot. Like, what kind of spaceship did you want to fly? Did you want to be a trader? Do you want to be a bounty hunter? Did you want to be a pirate? You know, there was different ships for different play styles, but you were a pilot. And then Squadron 42, you're going to be a pilot. Can you dabble on the side, repairing ships? Maybe you'll have a segment, because FPS sections exist. You'll be getting out of your ship and doing some stuff on the side. We understand. So maybe you'll be like having to heal people every so often to add to your squad to make it so you can do a mission or something. Or you'll have to repair a component. You know, you have to get out a repair tool and repair some stuff.
But that's Star Citizen. That's not really. That's more Star Citizen than it is Squadron 42.
Yeah.
You know, like the stuff that you're talking about is like elements of the single player, but like we talked about a theme park, like that is going to be a scripted element in the game or like a possible thing that you have to do, not the game itself. Not like, oh yeah, you can fuck off and become a trader in Squadron 42. It's like, nah, that's not how that works. I'm gonna skip this one because he's talking about virtual PC subscriptions and the Kids Online Safety Act, and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck this guy is going on. But I'm gonna skip this.
Maybe it's a British thing.
Well, no, it's there's a there is an act that's being passed in the United States that's like similar to the British like 18 and over law where you have to show your ID to get in. Yeah, which I know Deedsy loves, I'm sure.
The cum factory's closed.
You have to be this tall to ride the cum factory.
Yeah.
You have to get your ID out on camera. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We are an awful place.
77 Time asks, will CIG use rested XP and bonuses for people who are logged out so they can catch up on those who play 10 hours a day, like WoW rested XP bonus? No, because there's no experience. But they have said that there's going to be some benefit for sleeping in a bed versus just logging out. So
it's like a well-rested bonus, isn't it? Like in WoW had that, isn't it? If you log out in an inn and stuff like that, games have done that. Like obviously in Elder Scrolls and stuff and Fallout and stuff, you sleep in a bed, you get better bonuses. Like you don't have stat reduction or anything like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think CIG is going to monetize that stuff as well with like the subscribers bonuses. You're going to get like extra credits and extra rep grain if you subscribe for $10 a month. They'll give you a little bit extra, wink.
Yeah.
Maybe they could do something like that with like rep gain and boosters and whatnot. Because I don't know, they could do something like that where you log out, you get a little extra stuff when you log back in.
Because
I mean, you look at
going to bed and like stop playing the game. So
here's the thing: we look at like games like Diablo Immortal, Genshin Impact, Zen Zone Zero, these mobile games that have like 50 different currencies. I could totally see CIG giving players extra Wicklow favors. Like you just get a loot box delivered to your door by NPCs. Like, here, thanks for staying at the nice fancy hotel. Here's this loot box, and you open it up as like some Wicklow favors and some Mercenary Guild scripts, and maybe a blueprint for something, a consumable blueprint you can use once or twice.
There are paths that they can go to use that. But the question that Jin and Tonic says is like, what does catch up mean? Catch up to what? Because there's this thing, there's no real catch up in Star Citizen other than things like a reputation grind, other than things like maybe.
I mean, what you're talking about, the catch up mechanic in Star Citizen is like the web store.
Yes.
Like you're basically playing against Saudi oil barons. Like I remember a streamer, Nerd Show and Tell.
Oh yeah.
Who would literally buy new accounts just to get around the crime stat of his accounts getting sent to Klesher.
Yeah.
His primary account was Legatus, and then he would just buy an account, log in with both accounts because he had multiple PCs. This guy was like a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and he would just log in with another account, and he would give what ship he wanted to play with to his other account, fly around, pirate people, shoot them, pew pew pew. That character would eventually die, get sent to Klesher. He would buy a new account, log in with that account, give a different same ship, a second saber that he had bought from the web store to that account, fly around, do more crimes, and he would just keep doing that all day.
So yeah,
that's who you're fighting against.
There are, if the question has come down to like, how do you deal with the fact that everyone can purchase ships? There's ways the CIG can go about it, but they won't, because right now they're even trying to be resistant against the idea that like pilots shouldn't control, like oh yeah, we should have pilots control weapons on capital ships. Like, okay, that sounds like a terrible idea, and it is a terrible idea because it means to solo Polos and solo Idrises and
and then they released the Tiburon, and it's just like it's over.
Yeah.
And then of course the Odin concept comes out. I was like, it has like 12 lasers on it or something.
That's gonna kill everybody, and it's gonna be pilot control. Yeah. And it's like, so we're done with the idea that ships. This isn't a linear progression. It's
and you know, oh my god, you know how? Okay, so do you remember Star Blazers, right?
Yes.
Space Battleship Yamato. You know how they solved that issue in that anime? The pilot, the navigator, had control of the ship until the gunner was given permission to fire by the captain. In which case, he got a separate joystick that popped out that looked like a little pistol, and he can aim the ship a little bit with his joystick, up, down, left, right, and he basically aimed the ship like a pistol.
There's an easy answer, which is you have to charge the motherfuckers. So you have to have engineering reroute power to the. There's not enough power to support your big pilot controlled weapon. You have to have an engineer reroute the power, and that takes time and energy, and it's more efficient when you have an engineer doing that.
You get a gigantic emission spike coming from the ship to let people know you're about ready to fire, so they can learn to like go evasive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways of doing this, but obviously, you know, the player base, I said it wrong. The payer base. I have a gigantic hard-on for this word I've invented that probably I didn't invent.
Yeah.
But there is two groups of people, well, probably more, but there's the player base, people who actually play Star Citizen, and then there's the payer base, people who bitch about not being able to buy the Idris off the web store because of RNG or the F5 game, the F5 Wars. And CIG is courting several different groups of people here. The player base, they're trying to give us stuff to do in the game, and the payer base, the people who want to buy power from the web store with the Tiburon, the Idris M, the Idris K, people who just want more firepower on their ships, like the Stinger, right? What was the M80, the Matey, right? That CIG released just recently, and there's like, hey, here's a ship that has just a whole bunch of big guns on it. That's a heavy fighter. It's great. You should buy it. It basically invalidates the existence of the F8C that we said we'd never sell to anybody because it would be too powerful. And this thing is just more powerful than in fact, it's better than the Vanguard, right? Because it has two of everything inside. The Vanguard lost its extra power plant for
Ghost 1800 is now crying somewhere because you mentioned how bad because you now know more about the Vanguard than even CIG does. CIG forgot that the Vanguard existed.
I know. They sell the Odin, but they don't sell the Icky to anybody. Like, I could pound this war drum.
There is
for the entire podcast if I wanted to.
There is a path that CIG can take forward. The problem is that it's going to come down. That's the problem is that money needs to flow. Like without CIG getting money, they can't stay open. And the way they make money is selling ships. So they're kind of caught in a catch-22 where they have to sell ships And the people who buy their ships want big fuck you guns that they can use with their big fuck you ships.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be told that they have to have other people because they have money. They don't want people. If they have money, they don't want to have to deal with people. And
we were told that long ago. Like I'm gonna hit this. Chris Roberts told us we'd have NPC crew and AI controlled blades. So ships would be majority of ships would be automated or pilot controlled anyways. You just offload the turret stuff and repair stuff to NPCs, and you potentially would have your friends playing with you to do that kind of stuff, kind of like Sea of Thieves. But yeah, like I don't know if we have enough pilots. I don't know if we have enough crew in Star Citizen to actually do that. We have more captains than crew, I think.
I disagree. I think we have plenty of crew. Like my ass is much more of a crew member than it is a captain. Like I have bigger ships, but those bigger ships.
Well, if that's the case, Paul, would you want to crew my 890 jump called the Cum Factory?
I would love to. I would love to crew. I will make the best drinks on the Cum Factory.
God damn it.
The thickest pina coladas you've ever had.
I had no idea that he would pick that up and run so well with it. Thank you, Paul. Oh my God, YouTube is going to destroy this.
I was literally just thinking, Chance just dropped it in there. White Russian, that was another good one.
Yeah, White Russian. There we go.
That's another good one to go to. Brilliant.
A penile colada? Fuck off, Omega. Someone timed that motherfucker out.
No, I mean, I honestly think that there's a large group of people who don't want the responsibilities of being a captain, but you put them in a gun, they'll be like, I will shoot. Yeah. And there are people who want to be and I've seen this happen in game. Like I've seen someone literally stream where like they used a fully crewed Perseus and they had an engineer and they were constantly talking to the engineer, like in early engineering. And they were like, yeah, we've killed 4 Idrises in the last 2 hours with this thing. And it's the engineer was sitting there like, we've got like 20% armor left, but baby, I'm keeping this thing rolling. And it was like, it was just like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is fun. And this is like, if CIG wanted to, they could promote that. But going back to the discussion from the last video, they need player groups because I think more people would be okay with having crew members on their ships if they had control over what the crew members could access. They could say, hey, there's a reputation system. I need to talk with you, those kinds of things. So,
let me tell you a story. I have a good anecdote about this. There's a guy I play with. I don't know if he's a friend of mine, but he loves trolling me.
He's not...
He loves trolling me. Rob Tobtoll, if you see this son of a bitch out there, shoot him. Kind of like that what was that movie, not Inglourious Bastards, had like, what's his name?
Fury. Shoot that.
Fury.
Shoot
that guy.
Yeah.
Shoot that guy. He loves PvP. So if you find him find him flying around in the game, he just shoot on him. He'd love you. But we were doing some ASD runs and we're just grinding stuff out. And I guess he got a little bored, so he decides to pull out my power plant while I'm leaving the planet from the back of my C1. And suddenly everything goes dark in my ship, and I'm like, that motherfucker. Like, I thought he pulled all my fuses out. No, he pulls my goddamn power plant out, and it disappears from the ship as soon as he detaches it from the fucking thing, the ship. It just disappears. And so, luckily I left the gravity of Daymar, I think it was, we were leaving. Like, I left the gravity well of Daymar, so I'm just kind of drifting through space with this motherfucker. And I was like, you son of a bitch, if you don't backspace, I'm gonna come back there and shoot you myself. But yeah, we definitely need the ability to lock down the hatches.
Yes.
Because there'll always be that friend who's gonna take your fuses.
CIG even made a joke about this because it's that guy. It's that guy. You know, with the medical gown, that guy. You know, everyone has that guy.
Well, they clearly have that, like the pass, you know, like the security pass system in place. Obviously, dragging the ASD dude round into the.
Oh, I love that. We had 2 of them in my hangar at one point in time, and we gave him those. His name is James, I think.
No, I know you're talking about. Is it James?
The guy who keeps respawning.
Or is it Ben? I can't remember. It's like
Banners.
Benny?
I have to go look. I got more ASD runs to do. But
Yeah.
you could actually knock him out and like give him guns. So we gave him those Nerf blasters. We gave 2 of them Nerf blasters, and they just start screaming and shooting you with the Nerf guns because he'd have infinite ammo. It's like built into his code as an NPC that he has to have infinite ammo.
Sam.
That's it. Sam. Yeah, love that.
Yeah. There's definitely like they've talked about the system like permission system on ships before, where like so that you can use a system where like, oh, you're an engineer, well, you have access to these systems. You can go to engineering, and I can get access to them, but you cannot get to the bridge. Or you're a gunner, cool, you can access to this gun and the hallways to get to the gun. That's it, you know. And those systems, just again, in Sandbox systems, don't exist in the game, which would work really well for allowing for people to trust people. Because if you're just like this random dude who's asking for almost nothing to go on a gunner, to be a gunner, you don't trust him, but like, hey, he's available and he's cheap, I'll hire him. And so he has this route he can take and no other. And if he decides
it's more about limiting the damage that people can do to you, because CIG wants our ships to be like our homes. Like you can't just have someone self-destruct the entire goddamn ship, right? Yeah. You can give him permission to go to the turret and fire the guns, and like he's going to shoot at a cop, and then the cops are going to be like, "Hold on, just a second there, you can't do that. That's illegal."
All right, we got a lot more questions. We got too much.
I'm sure we do, Paul. I'm sure we got a lot of questions now.
We got too hung up on the cum factory, so the backlog in the cum factory became too much.
The back shots of the cum factory is way too much.
All right, Ian Wilson, 4286 asks, question: what do we need so that CIG can add NPC cargo ships flying around? That's just stability.
We had them. Yeah, fuck me, I actually talked about this.
Yeah, do you remember the random caterpillars that would just show up when you jump to an area?
Lorville, 335. Lorville had random ass ships, NPC. They would spawn in the sky really high up, so you didn't see it happen, and they would fly down on a spine. They would land, and they would loiter for a few minutes, and they would take off and fly back up. The problem was they'd always end up upside down somewhere on the edge of Lorville, or they just ram your ship. They'd run into you.
But also, if you If you jump to an orbital marker, if you waited around an orbital marker, ships would spawn. Like caterpillars would spawn, sometimes pirate caterpillars, sometimes friendly caterpillars. Sometimes caterpillars would spawn, but then pirates would spawn, and then bounty hunters would spawn to go after the pirates. Like you could do that. It was just before you could like actually pull the cargo out. But I think a lot of the reasons just performance. They've turned that system off because the performance is so bad that when they add them, they know it's.
And a lot of it comes down to the ability to actually like troubleshoot and support these systems.
Because this is
they got, like I said, they got a lot of eyes, ears, and brain power on Squadron 42 right now. So they don't really have the time, the money, and the wherewithal to actually like add this stuff and then support it. They could do it, but guess what's going to happen? You're going to go dock your C2 at Baijini Point, and then an NPC C2 is going to fly right up your asshole and blow your shit up while you're unloading, and it's going to just absolutely send you through the roof. You're going to be done with Star Citizen for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
that is it.
At least
is the juice worth the squeeze, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of the systems they built were for 3.0. So like they have to rebuild those systems in Star Citizen, and they just don't have, like you said, time, energy. Those people almost guarantee you are working on Squadron because that's the same system that would be in Squadron. So
they need that fat stack of Squadron money. They need that game gone and a bit of money to sit on for 6 months, to be honest, to patch all these things into Star Citizen and make them reliable. It's the same as well of maintaining, like we said in the main show, that maintaining the theme parks. It's just they haven't got the manpower there at the moment. I think that's how it is.
Yeah, and we've seen, at least for 4.9, it's not perfect, but the amount of lashback they got that finally got them to do a little bit of maintenance, and suddenly we have better performance at all of the People's Alliance stations in Levski. We've got an improved scanning system and better mining systems. Like these are things that people have been asking for like half a year, if not longer. that it took enough of them to go, okay, well, let's actually look at this backlog and start fixing these things. So,
Yeah.
All right. Escape asks, question, what kind of missions do you think would be suited for the cities of Star Citizen? Unironically.
Drug dealing.
Well, drug dealing. But unironically, pizza delivery boy.
Sure.
Uber.
Yeah. I mean,
with drug dealing on the side, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Nobody expects a pizza delivery man to deal drugs. It's just that guy just eats a lot of pizza.
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, delivery guy, like Uber Eats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is, they're the simple ones. They could be like...
We kind of already have that
level.
with Wicklow. Wicklow orders food from you all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you actually have to fly. The idea being like you don't have to leave the city. Another one would be like a gang thing, like where like you have to go in an area that's like overrun by gangs and you have to clear them out.
That'd be something great for like the
gates.
No, well, ArcCorp, but I'm thinking about Lorville.
Putting down
gates.
Rebellions.
Putting down worker revolts, like the Pinkertons.
Yeah.
Basically just being a Pinkerton.
Those would be the kind of fun ones. Especially since like Lorville has those different gates and those different areas.
Paul. Oh man. Oh Jesus. I just thought of something that's going to go sideways in an epic way. You're going to love this because you can imagine just how bad this is going to be in Star Citizen. Grav train heist.
Yes.
Right. You can imagine like the pathing of the train.
That would be
messes
cool.
Up and it takes you to space.
That would be incredibly cool and incredibly buggy, but I'd love it. That'd be a great little thing.
As I say, some sort of heist. I think like thievery.
Q-Pan's like from Solo. No, I'm talking about Firefly. What's this Solo crap you're talking about, Q-Pan?
But even in Firefly, a lot of that was like also infiltrating the train and then walking through the train and all that kind of stuff too. So and then there could be heists, especially because there's other technologies which have clearly been put on hold, like building interiors, which they wanted to do with like ArcCorp, where you could just like
be like Judge Dredd, where you're stopping a block war.
Yeah.
Like one skyscraper would go to war with another skyscraper.
Yeah.
They're shooting like missiles and rockets across the way that they ripped off like ships like Gray's Market. They just cut a ship in half and they embedded the ship in like one floor and they're using it to shoot the other apartment.
You can also do something crazy, something simple like engineering. Like some landlord is like, my tenants are bitching that the AC is broken. Go figure out what's wrong. You have to like go to the basement of the building, and then be
they
like,
kind of have that in Pyro
repair this
with some of the repair missions.
Yeah,
which maintenance things.
Yeah, that's simple. Like these are simple things you could do. And the question is, how do you get to those locations? And with like first in its
public transit, according to
depends if we go back to the theme park versus Sandbox. Like, are you the slumlord that owns the building and you're paying some other player to come and fix that kind of thing? It's that emergent gameplay,
And for people who are wondering, like, why does this matter? It's like, well, it allows for players to do things at a landing zone other than shop, which gives more freedom for people to do other things while they're there. So they can make a little bit of money while they're there. It gives players who maybe their ship is fucked and they have to like wait to respawn. They can just like, I can do missions on the landing zone while I'm waiting for my ship to get repaired or my ship to get brought back. So, all right. Gin and Tonic asks, question: we've established that there should be theme park elements in Star Citizen. I think that's pretty well consensus. Other than the starting campaign that is part of 1.0, should there be other curated campaigns, longer, more, or less linear storylines? Yeah, mission givers.
Yeah. I think there should be. I think mission givers were great, and we should have like a mission giver that gives you a chain of missions that you can go through and complete in various different ways that changes the next mission you do for you or your group of people, depending on like how you complete it. And then a month later, like maybe that mission giver comes back and resets, and then you can go through it again if you wanted to.
Yeah, or just have like a mission giver where there's like actual linear story where like you're getting to the trust of the mission giver, and you unlock some repeatable missions in the process. But there's like cutscenes or like originally this was like mind material that we don't know if it's going to happen. There was a Ticia Pacheco mission where it was just meet her at G-Lock. And you'd go to G-Lock and you'd sit down at the bar and you'd get drunk. That was the mission, was to get drunk with Ticia Pacheco. And she would tell you about her experience and as a security officer before like losing her, was her eye? I think her eyes got hurt. And so she had to get like cybernetic replacements. And that was it. That was the mission, was just to go get drunk with Ticia Pacheco. And that's that's a very Sandbox story, linear mission, but it makes sense if you're earning the trust of Ticia that she would finally open up to you and get drunk with you, and then now you have access to better missions or more personal stuff and that kind of thing. So yeah, there are ways to do this in ways that are not just grand story arcs across the entire universe, but I think they set them like system stories or like landing zone stories where like they wanted to do individual stories of the systems or the planets inside those systems. So Quick, Jiniconic asks, okay, isn't it a likely explanation for the pause of Sandbox development waiting for Genesis? I don't think it's Genesis, because you can do Sandbox stuff without Genesis, like social tools and stuff like that. It's Squadron.
Yeah.
I think it's Squadron.
Yeah, 100%.
It's brain, not necessarily specifically resources, but also like brain power. It's like, don't talk to me about this shit. I got to deal with this thing over here. All right. I can't think about building out, a interesting storyline for a series of missions for that is, semi a sandbox or whatever, while I'm worrying about rewriting the script for this section of Squadron or something. So yeah. Iris Dreadties asks, so Vert, Paul, Deeds, how do you all really feel about how CIG is doing in making Star Citizen? I'll start with Vertigo, and then I'll go Deeds.
I am not happy this year about Star Citizen. I know Jared Huckabee would like to convince me, specifically me. I'm going to talk about my experience, in my opinion. Jared Huckabee would like to convince me that they're all talented people and they've had the best 18 months ever. I disagree. I'll be very polite and diplomatic about it right now. I disagree with that opinion, and I'll leave it at that. Because I could go for a long time on this subject.
Deedsy, what's your thought?
Right. So obviously I backed early, like January 2014, I think it was, on and off the project for years. Fully got back into it, like 4.0 sort of time. Like that's when that's pretty much all I played, and obviously to this day kind of thing. I came back with the year of stability, the year of playability, whatever it was, and the theme park stuff aided that, like got me back into it, like as in like, oh crap, this is actually a game, you know what I mean? And then obviously had like, yes, it's an alpha. It's always an alpha, and I've got that in my head. It gave me enough. I think it gave me enough of dose of what the game could be to accept that there's bugs, and I've made videos about it. I've enjoyed falling through planets, all that kind of shit. I just think now that I've sort of got back into it, I watched a lot of your stuff, Paul, in the early days and things like that to get myself back into where the game is now, and from the vision that I obviously had in my head when I was a much younger man to where it is now. And I don't know, this year, like I feel like Jared is trying to be on the side of the players, you know what I mean? Like he's holding people to account, and some of the weekly videos we've had, obviously the big one about 4.8 a couple of weeks back was obviously it was sort of just laying it out on the line, and him trying to hold Benoit and that to account for what had happened, and being transparent. But there's too much of the cloak and dagger, I think. Like obviously you read the socials, you read your Discords, you read everything, and everyone knows the game is completely on its ass during 4.8. It was, and it took them 2-3 weeks to sort of acknowledge that it was a busted Idris or something that everyone someone pulled an Idris in.
No. 482 was a busted Idris.
482 was the busted Idris, wasn't it?
4.8.2 released, and nobody can get in for like 24 hours because they put a version of the Idris in that was in production with something. They had a bug they were fixing that wasn't fixed. It had more issues with it, but it slipped through the safety net, and it got added to the patch release, the release branch, somehow.
Yeah,
and that caused anybody who tried to launch 482 would crash as soon as the Idris spawned.
Yeah,
no matter
and I think obviously pulling an entire shard out of the game because someone pulled an Idris, and things like that. It should have just been. It should have been a case of just full on, open, honest transparency. So what pisses me off the most, I think, to wrap this up, is that they are trying to be open and honest with the player base. It's just few and far between. There's certain things they're quite happy to jump straight on, and there's very few, but there's a lot of things, the bigger issues, that they just let sit, bury their head in the sand for a while, and then they let Jared come out to try and be the white knight to defend CIG and say they've had such an amazing time. So I just don't think it's the transparency, it's the communication that they suffer with. I like to think that they've got that end goal, the 1.0 dream in mind still, but I just think they're faltering this year after my resurgent comeback into the game, where I thought I was dead impressed on where it had come. I say dead impressed, obviously it was been about 12 years, but I think they're making silly mistakes, and they've just got very low levels of accountability that I think that the players are just starting to notice now. And obviously the amount of money, they've broken $1 billion and that kind of thing. It's just
it's not even the $1 billion that upsets me. Like, any company that's been in business this long, your revenue just will eventually hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
And revenue isn't profit, right? And what really makes me mad is we've been doing this for 14 years and we're still releasing garbage patches. 4.8, 3.18, 3.0, 2.0. We're still releasing just garbage like that, and it shoots me through the roof. I could not watch that Jared Huckabee Benoit interview. I just couldn't. I was too mad.
It was a rough one. It was a rough one. Like
it was filled with none of the stuff I wanted to hear. And I know if CIG was telling me the stuff I wanted to hear, it wouldn't fix what was actually wrong.
Yeah.
With Star Citizen.
The issue, it seems right now, is it feels like they have a lot of problems inside the company when it comes to cultural understanding how the game should be.
Which is a management problem. And
Jared
Huckabee tells us, like, Benoit and Jared Huckabee, nobody's responsible for how bad this release. Yeah, there is someone responsible. It's called management.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody should be managing this stuff to make sure it goes out in a good quality. But obviously something has slipped here.
Well, I mean, the fact that they didn't even have a fucking regular system for reporting bugs. Like,
they should. They've been in business for 14 years, and you tell me you don't run a check to make sure every ship in the game that you spawn one in every time you try to release a patch to live.
They didn't even have a system for like categorizing which bugs should go where and how it happened. It's just sort of ad hoc. And knowing what I know about CIG, I almost guarantee you is that whoever was in charge of that system was also in charge of 3 other systems. And so they were like, I'm going to drop whatever isn't important. And, the culture is not bug fixing because whatever, we're going to replace X, Y, or Z system.
Patch goes.
The patch got to go. So I'm going to focus on the system.
Stuff. That's it.
Patch goes. And they had a sale coming up. They had the Drake Defense Con sale.
Yeah.
That they had to have a
4.9 can't be delayed. 4.9 can't be delayed because we got to sell the Basher. That's what it was.
It was the Ironclad and the whatever.
I'm talking about 4.9. Like 4.9 couldn't be delayed, even though all of the stuff that was big in 4.9 was like was pulled out. The reason why they pulled it out was because they still wanted to call it 4.9 so they could release the Basher, because I'm sure the Basher materials that they made for the sale said 4.9 in it. So it's like we can't.
And I don't fucking mind. I don't goddamn mind releasing a ship and then calling the patch that ship's number. Like, okay, so Basher the Basher is the 4.9 ship. What I mind is the patch being just absolutely awful for everybody involved. Right? That's what kind of irritates me. Like stuff irritates me with like 4.9, right? Yesterday I stopped playing Star Citizen because the game like decided to shove my Vanguard into the pad, and then I stored my pad from the lobby, and then it made it so I couldn't pull out any other ship after that. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna play Crimson Desert because Star Citizen just doesn't want to be played right now. But yeah,
but it's what it feels like is that there has been a collective buildup. I'm not going to say tech debt because that sets out an image of. It's because it's not just ennui. It's like a collective buildup of ennui.
Ennui. Yeah.
It's not necessarily tech debt.
Don't give it. For those who don't know what ennui is, it's just the collectivist of not giving a shit.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not necessarily anger, and it's not necessarily indifference. It's just sort of like a depressed feeling of like, oh well, that's life, I guess. I
have a dictionary.
And that's what this year. That's what the year feels like.
If I can remember how to spell ennui.
It started off so well with the release of of crafting. It felt like there's a reason to pop onto the play of the game again. Like there were still problems, and like obviously performance was issues here and there. But it wasn't until 4.8 that everything just seemed to like it smacked, like something in 4.8 broke. Not just broke in the game, but it broke CIG. And they just didn't know what to do to fix it. And they're still figuring out how to fix what they broke. Either it was technical, either it was ethical, if maybe it was, or like motivation, maybe there was, somebody left the project and now they're like, oh, fuck, what do we do? I mean,
they lost a lot of experienced developers over the past couple years
months.
Now.
Yeah, let that.
You look at like when I was at one of the Bar Citizen in Manchester, and like you look at like the amount of job postings CIG has that for hiring in pretty much every department. Mm-hmm. And they don't have a great rating on like Glassdoor and stuff like that. And it's like there must be just something in the company that's just it's not translating top down. Yeah, the translation from management to actual people who are going to make the
tone
game
at the top determines how everything is at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I've had that described to me in like management classes I had to take in like college.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what the problem is, but that's what it feels like. And to be fair, a lot of it is also the doldrums. Summer sucks. CIG is awful at managing expectations in the summer, especially when they release a bad patch like a 3.18 or 4.8, where the rest of the year just kind of gets that sour taste because they don't manage well.
Okay, so I was spelling it wrong. It's ennui, the feeling of utter weariness and discontent resulting from satiety or lack of interest, boredom.
Yeah, so it's like you're stationary, you're not moving stuff, and it's sort of
you get that when you're working on I've had this as a mechanic where you're working on the same project over and over and over. You got this constant problem that you can't fix. You're constantly talking to the factory. You're talking to your coworkers. You're trying to solve this stupid problem, but this thing doesn't want to stay fixed. And you have a lemon on your hand essentially.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what's wrong with it. And your boss is, pushing you to fix it. And the customer wants their stupid thing back. And this is going to be very expensive to fix. And nobody wants to pay for it. It's everybody else's problem. And you're just kind of stuck in the middle trying your best. And you're just smoke, not fire, right?
Yeah.
Your wheels are spinning, and you're making no progress. You're just making a smoke show.
You see the smoke, but you cannot find the fire for neither love nor money. You cannot find the fucking fire.
And I think a lot of employees at CIG kind of feel the same thing that we feel as fans, as customers, is that they probably don't feel like they're making a lot of progress on some of the core problems that we may have as the fan base with Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Like 4.8 showed us some of the weaknesses is like we want Star Citizen to be better, but we just, for some reason, there's a lot of roadblocks that prevent us from making it better. Either hiring, firing decisions, management putting resources on a pet project like Squadron 42 or Theaters of War, focusing more on ship sales and theme park stuff as opposed to actually fixing some of the core problems, right?
Yeah.
But this is the stuff that makes money in Star Citizen, selling the Basher, selling the Ironclad. But making the Ironclad or the Basher actually good in Star Citizen, does that actually affect sales? Does it? Doesn't seem like it does.
No. I mean, By the way, Jin posted this. Jin and Tonic posted this, who worked in the industry, who explained the patch must go is a standard practice in agile development. In some versions of agile development, like Kanban, you always publish on time, but only publish which is ready to be published. Which I
thought we were doing that,
but they weren't doing that. They were publishing no matter what, even if it wasn't ready for publish. And that's really what the Benoit interview was saying. It's like we were publishing we shouldn't have published. We were publishing without
and
checks.
I thought they were pushing features back that weren't ready for release. I thought that was one of their core tenets.
They said that 3 years ago. That was one of those.
But there were certain features with like server meshing that had to go with server meshing. So they had like 4.0 had to go in the direction 4.0 went because they needed the entire game to be updated with 4.0 with server meshing. And there were some things that they didn't have to push with 4.0, like the transit rework that they could kind of hold off on for a little while. Some of the missions they could just disable and refactor them later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels like they're just pushing stuff live just because they can.
The thing is that like I still think the game can be good. It's been 14 years, guys.
And that's what makes me exhausted.
That's the exhausting part. It's like it's been 14 years and we're seeing the same mistakes. It's like
I don't even care about how much money they're making.
Yeah.
They're making enough money to pay the bills. Okay, that's fine. They have $1 billion. I don't give a shit. I don't. Oh my God. There was a quote from like The Wire or something, which is like, "Bitch, don't count my money." I'm not counting Chris Roberts' paycheck. He probably makes 6 figures or something because he's a
no one would care if you were making the game. If the game was fun, no one would care how much money Chris Roberts is making.
Exactly. But 14 years and you guys still haven't figured out how to fix the elevators in your goddamn game, right?
You still haven't come up with a fucking flight model. That's a standard flight model. This is the 3rd fucking flight model they're working on, and it's exhausting, is what it is. It's exhausting to take a look at this and go, why does it feel like we're at year 3 when you're at year 14? Like, what is going on? And there are probably many different explanations, but as I will like to say, and this is important, I think this is the most important thing is most people don't care for an explanation. They want the game to be fun. You can tell me that's this is what wrong, this is what wrong, this is what wrong, this is what wrong, which is a nice way of saying, hey, thank you for communicating that this is what's going on.
We acknowledge our mistakes, but that doesn't fix anything.
We need a plan to fix it. Where's your plan to fix it? And I don't think they still.
I don't even want a plan anymore. I just want to see. I just want to see progress.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Right. And 4.8 is not progress. 4.82 was not progress.
No.
That live interview with Benoit was just excuses and an explanation, which did not alleviate my problems, my heartache.
Yeah.
4.9 is a little bit better, but 4.9 honestly feels like an extension of 4.83. Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that much better. Oh, and they updated the elevators. I have actually a good anecdote about this. They updated the elevator tech at Area 18. I fell through the elevator today at Area 18. I'm chatting along with my group, and I press the elevator button to summon the elevator. It opens up into a black space, the Abyss Assembly, right, or the Abyss Embassy, right. The Oblivion Embassy opens up, and I'm not paying attention. I just see the elevator door open to the side of my eye, and I walk in. I realize too late that the carriage didn't show up, and it's just blackness, and I fall to the bottom of the.
It's weird that that's the new system, and
that's what irritates me. That's the reason why I'm telling this. That is the new elevator system, ladies and gentlemen, that CIG called out. That is why this patch. That is one of the main features of this patch that is called out in the patch notes. That they have a new elevator system specifically at Grimhex and Area 18. And we still have the same bullshit with this new elevator system.
We got to move on.
We got to go. We got to change topics because we're going to be on this forever.
I think the best way of describing this in the nicest way possible is we're all exhausted. That's it. It's just this is an exhausting year, and it doesn't help because of the for almost half a year has been basically 4.8, and that's the exhausting thing. All right, CM Fool asks, why is it that every time I pick up ammo or buy some, it comes in a magazine? Why can't I have them in a box or just separate? Because it looks messy in my inventory.
Can you imagine CIG selling boxes of ammo and then you have to reload all the magazines yourself?
DayZ. That's what I remember that you have to do it in DayZ. And the reason why is because they can't even keep like systems running properly with the amount of with just random bullshit in boxes.
Yeah.
Like
Their
it's
basic
performance.
math,
Yeah.
right? Basic math. See, the engine seems to have problems with basic math sometimes, getting damage to apply properly, not having and we had an enemy just fly off the path one day today and just kind of float through space off a grid and shoot us. Headshot one of my buddies I was playing with. It was amazing to watch. So, I mean, Jesus, I would love to be able to just buy a box full of magazines, right? Just hand me a box, just buy a box full of 1,000 magazines. You open the box up and you just take a few magazines out. But the problem is, how's that saying go? If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Yeah.
Right? And you can bulk buy ammo right now, and guess what? It works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's fine. There's certain levels.
Yeah.
There's certain levels of I'm okay if it's working. It's like Beam Citizen. People like to bitch about Beam Citizen, but I'm like, I'm fine with it. As long as it works and it functions and but it's not believable. I'm not immersed. Okay, I don't care. It's a video game. At some point you're gonna have to cut some corners.
At
to get
some
shit
point,
done.
you will have to be okay with a certain level of abstraction.
Yeah.
If you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're rolling dice. You're not actually swinging the sword.
Yeah.
You can go out and actually do that if you want. You can do some LARPing, live action role playing if you want. But guess what? You're not going to be swinging real swords at your friends.
No. Yeah.
Or throwing real lightning. You're going to be throwing tennis balls pretending they're fireballs, and you're going to be swinging like pool noodles at your friends instead of.
There's a reason why when you get 100 or more people in an Arma match, the game starts to implode on itself. It's because even in a big or even a smallish map, when you start having high numbers of people in a game like Arma, things start breaking down because it's just not built for those numbers of people. So trying to do something like Arma at the scale of Star Citizen with 10,000 players, it's not going to work. So you just have to get some abstracting. That's what it is.
Yeah. Definitely.
77 Time asks, do you support a subscription-only hardcore server with Aurora starting and earn everything? No, but I do support private servers.
But he didn't say which game, Paul. So how about subscription-only servers for World of Warcraft?
With an Aurora? We're gonna have Auroras in Warcraft?
Sure, why not? Let's. I mean, this question was very, very open-ended. And that's his problem, right? He assumed we're gonna.
77 Time was talking about how he's one of those people who's like, we need a subscription only model. It's the only way to keep the stupid kids out of the game. And
unfortunately, Chris Roberts has proven you absolutely wrong with selling spaceships.
Yeah.
So,
but also
subscription MMOs are basically dead. He's
also saying that like pay to win. Like by selling spaceships, you pay to win. You need to have some sort of people would pay a subscription service so that they didn't have to deal with all this bullshit. It's like, unfortunately, nobody pays a subscription model unless you're WoW or, the Old Republic or something like that. You have to have a hybrid model at best, and if not a free-to-play model, Final Fantasy, but that's Final Fantasy 14.
Isn't that like a 10-year-old game? 10
and it's also one of the more popular MMOs. Like, you can get away with it if you're a popular game that people will shell the money out for. So
Star Citizen is mostly funded by whales and krakens, very, very large, big money spenders. A kraken, a kraken is the next step up from a whale. For those who don't know,
good to know.
We're talking like millions of dollars into a video game.
Oh, so 77 Time asks, how will after people stop buying off the store, how will CIG fund itself then? That's a good question. None of us can answer that.
How will they'll die?
We ain't there yet. Yeah, we ain't there yet.
No, I'll tell you how they'll fund themselves. They'll sell themselves out to Nexon.
Yes, they'll sell or to what's the Chinese company that's buying all the companies?
Tencent.
Tencent, yeah, they'll sell to Tencent.
Yeah. Or the private Saudi Arabia that EA got bought up by.
Yeah, the Saudi wealth fund, the sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah, sovereign wealth fund.
Sovereign Wealth Fund, yeah. That's
the Sovereign Whale Fund. I like it. You, Citizen Deedsy, are my favorite comedian. My favorite comedian now.
Comedian, yeah, brilliant.
That's why I say private. This is the end game for all online games, especially since Chris Roberts early on was like, I was inspired to do Star Citizen because of how many people were modding and keeping Freelancer alive 10 years after it had been released with mods and multiplayer stuff. So he said he wanted to support mods, and I think that is the real end game of Star Citizen is private servers that maybe don't have the 8-10K people, but 50 to 100 hand selected people that you can run specific mods on, and you can have your Aurora only work from the bottom, grind to the top sort of servers. All right, we've got a couple more questions, but most of them are from CM Fool, and I love CM Fool, but he intentionally asks questions which are obtuse. Sometimes they hit on interesting topics, but a lot of times it's just him being a funny guy. Intentionally. Like this. How do we want inferior casuals playing with this game? Why do we want to dilute our player base with weirdos?
I want them as my turret gunners.
Example.
I want them as my turret gunners and my poop swabbers.
Yes.
Yeah. They need to empty the bucket on the shiv is what they need to do.
Stay Crew asks, what do you think Star Citizen's end game should be? Like, after all the ships, the best guns, etc., what do you do then? Fight each other. Yeah.
Open world PvP in fashion.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, every end game is fashion. That's the way it goes.
Building out your factory or your settlements or your character to look as cool as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's a living, breathing universe is what we were sold, or what we were, the idea of it.
This is the problem.
That's the end game, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that people go, "What's the end game?" It's like it's a sandbox. There is no end game to a sandbox. It's whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And
if you can't figure out why that's fun, then you suck at having fun, right?
Yeah. It does require a specific type of game. That's the thing. It's like it requires a specific type of gamer. But I'm the kind of guy who will watch like a video of like Project Zomboid where someone's like, I'm going to kill every single zombie in the Project Zomboid map, and it's just a 7-hour slog of him showing him killing every single zombie, and I'm like, this is fascinating. I'm going to watch this entire 7-hour video.
It's almost a social experiment, isn't it?
I'm gonna beat Skyrim with only starter weapons. I'm gonna defeat the
I'm gonna do a Satisfactory world where I only use trucks.
Yeah.
Oh God. Or one guy one guy I follow on YouTube did a Kenshi run, which is like this open world sandbox.
I love Kenshi. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'm gonna play as like the these really crappy fog faction,
the
fog
Fogmen
guys."
Yeah,
the Fogmen, and it was just like everybody, his entire faction sucks, and his dudes have like terrible stats. Yeah. And his solution was to basically grind up like one guy to the point where he could actually fight somebody,
become a god,
and then just, and then he just used that one guy to beat it. Huh?
Was it Beat Meep? Or is that?
I think it was Amphibian.
Oh. No, it's Meep. He is the guy. He's a famous, I think, Fogman who's like only says meat, and it's the whole.
Oh yeah.
And he was trying to like beef him up so that he'd become the ultimate killing machines. Yeah, the ambiguous amphibian. I love that guy. I love his
ambiguous
runs.
amphibian. Yeah.
He does but that's the thing. It's like I love those sorts of things because I like playing RimWorld, and so it does require a different type of person to understand that an end game in a game like Star Citizen should be whatever you fucking want. And but that requires CIG to make the fucking systems that allow for that thing to happen. To give us
this
those.
Is what we said
struggles.
though, isn't it? If you start having like a player organization that basically own half of a planet, they're going to get into fights with other orgs, they're going to get into fight with pirates, they're going to get fights with everything else, and then every now and then they'll drop a patch and go, oh, by the way guys, here's this new little fancy theme park that gives you an incentive to come back and do this same shit you've been doing for years again, because it's the same with WoW. They add a new raid, it's got slightly different mechanics, but it's all the same shit. You're just grinding it out to get the better guys.
Here's the problem with
Star
Citizen though. You bring this up. I love this. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go.
A player base takes a large org takes over a part of a planet, right? And then CIG adds another solar system on the opposite that's connected to some place on the opposite side of the star map that has like a new theme park activity. that has like drops or a limited time event. All those guys, everyone's gonna have to pull up stakes and go across the whole solar. Oh my god! And then like fight over there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem I have with Star Citizen right now with the idea of base building, or like this is why I had my rant on persistent hangars. There is a lot of content in Star Citizen that is not next to where I choose to spawn at Area 18, which is fine, right? But everybody chooses to spawn where the content is when they do spawn in. And eventually you're going to have this problem where you're going to have the players just be like this nomadic, what do they call them, caravan people? Deedsy? Caravan people just kind of going around and just nomming all the content where it actually is, instead of actually going and engaging like with the actual living, breathing sandbox.
Well, that's then, isn't it? It's like organization, space stations, and things like that, isn't it? That, well, yeah, it's like I say, it's making a living and breathing universe and trying to make it fun, so that you're not going to do your day job, or you're not going to, look after your kids and everything like that, and then come into Star Citizen and do, like I was saying before, I'm quite happily doing a day job, doing the organization's taxes and fucking funding the, whatever. But
you have to go around and do recruitment drives. You have to like knock on people's habs and say, "Hey, are you looking for an org? Would you like to join our org? We're really fun. We own a star base in Pyro that's like on the opposite side of where the current content is, the current theme parks is."
But that's the reason why that's why Sandbox is important. We're going back to the original,
you can be, the Sandbox can be as in depth and emergent as as you want it to be, and I think they'll just need to keep dropping the theme parks in every now and then to keep people interested. That's the end game, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll give an example of, like, this is stupid, but it's something I want to do. My goal in Star Citizen is to find every alcoholic drink I can find that is craftable, and I want to get it to tier 3. I want to be able to make tier 3 highest quality alcoholic beverages. Why? Because fucking nobody else is going to do that, because it's not the meta. It's
it won't even hold a candle to my goddamn fentanyl pickles from Pyro. Do you know Fent pickles? Do you know about them?
Yes.
Everyone knows.
For those who don't know, if you drink a beer, if you drink a beer in Star Citizen, no matter where you drink that beer, no matter where you get that beer from, you can find some hobo's lunchbox in Pyro, or you can order it from a bartender.
It's like
in
2%
Stan at G-Lock. You get 2% blood drug level, whatever that means.
But
if you open up a box and you find like a pickle in that box somewhere in the ASD facility, you eat that pickle, it will put you under the floor. Like 40% per pickle. Three pickles will kill you. Yeah.
Two pickles.
Two will put you down.
You will literally just ragdoll on the ground because you are so out of it. It is so great.
You will need medical attention if you eat 3 pickles in Star Citizen. Like, it's amazing. We were trying to figure out what these pickles are actually made with or laced with, and the nearest we can tell is fentanyl, because I watched like reviews of like moonshine pickles, which is like a thing in America, right? They actually have like make pure ethanol, right? That's pure grain alcohol, and they ferment pickles in it, and you can eat these pickles, and they're awful. And those things didn't do anything to anybody. So, but yeah, good luck for you, Paul.
Yeah.
Good luck on the drinks.
But you see, like that's a stupid fucking thing. But that's the whole point of a sandbox. Because who knows? Maybe one patch CIG decides that this tier 3 alcohol is needed for like crafting the like regen drugs. That's suddenly like, well, now who the fuck is gonna have to get? Look who's got all of the power now for this pack, bitch.
One of the reasons why I actually ground out. One of the reasons why I ground out the Xenothreat shit, so I just got the blueprint in case CIG broke something. Right.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, it's clearly a bug, which is funny, is that it's clearly that they attached the pickle to drug blood level when it was supposed to be like food or drink.
Food or drink or something. And honestly, I think it's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, and
they should just leave it.
They put it in the wrong box, and it says they put it in the wrong box. It's been like, don't one fucking change it, and they haven't. Like, we've known about it as a community for months. This has been in for like almost a year now, and they haven't changed. It's like, thank you.
Leave
Never change this. Never change this. This is a bug that needs to stay forever.
They are just absolutely fucked up pickles from Pyro. That's all.
Yes.
That is my headcanon for them.
We call them Pyro
there's some.
pickles.
There's some
pickles,
alien cucumber or alien plant that if you eat it, it's like it really messes you up, and I love it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I'm all about that.
It's not a Terran cucumber. It is something completely different. Do not make that mistake.
All right. Next question comes from Iris Dreadtide. I'm going to go through this, and it's I'm not going to because this is we've kind of already went through it. Iris is saying like, what do you think? Believe CIG has a cohesive vision for Star Citizen, what it'll look like and what it'll play like, what roles players should have in the verse, that kind of stuff. We've kind of gone over that. It's also a little bit off topic of what we're talking about, which is, I think the general end just is, I think 1.0 is the only thing we can really say. Do I think the CIG has anything beyond 1.0? I don't fucking know. I don't think anyone would know other than CIG. So
yeah.
All right. Griffin Gaming RPG asks, question: why do players assume Star Citizen has to either either or and not big enough to be both? It's a universe, not a battle map. About between
Contention.
Sandbox and
some people just want to be contrarian or contentious.
Well,
but yeah, Star Citizen could be both.
It's also
I think it has to be, and I think in the size of the game will lend itself to that. There'll be, people will gravitate to certain areas for certain styles of gameplay and things like that. Yeah,
I got something. There are some people that want Star Citizen to become their favorite game, either EVE Online, MechWarrior Online, EverQuest back when it was good. Everybody always tries to project their favorite thing or PlanetSide. People want Star Citizen to be PlanetSide. They want it to be DayZ. They want it to be Tarkov. They want it to be. I had a really good time playing this game, but this game kind of sucks now, right? For some reason, and they project that onto their next favorite thing. And we've had this over the years. Then Star Citizen doesn't become that thing, and people get really mad about it.
Yeah,
because Chris Roberts was selling that idea.
Yeah. But I also the way I like to put this as well is the sim versus arcade argument, because people seem to think that it's either has to be a complete sim or it has to be full arcade, and there is no in between. And it's like there are things like magazines being sold and the weapons are all magazines rather than like, because I know at one point CIG wanted to do reloadable magazines, but they made the way that they split the difference was the repool mechanics, where you like hit like a button, and for me it's Alt-1, and you'll repull your ammunition and all of your weapons, and take some time. So it is effectively the same thing as reloading ammunition into magazines. It takes time, you have an animation, and you have to wait for it to finish, but it's not so clunky like a sim would be, that you would have to manually pull out your box and go.
We said this, I think I've said this on another one we talked about on another podcast about going into your inventory. Yeah. Putting your bag down and going in and rifling through your stuff, that kind of thing. There's and then like what Vertigo said earlier as well, obviously if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. There's certain things about the game that add, like the repooling mechanic, I like that. I use it quite a lot. I think it's just cool because obviously rather than dragging all the magazines back onto your character and that kind of stuff, just repool back to full, find a safe space to do that. It works. And like it's quite immersive. Obviously they've got the mechanic. I suppose you only hold your gun up, I guess, but still it works. It works. This is just
we can split the difference between sim and arcade, because there's some elements that don't need to be fully simmed out. You can just abstract, and there's some elements which should be simmed out because it's part of the fun and the gameplay in the balance. There is a thing between the two. It's people love dichotomies because it makes them feel better, because it's easier to be like, I like this or I like that, and you can be on a team one or the other. Yeah. It's a lot more harder to be like, it's kind of more complicated than that. That answer is.
But I mean, there's actually a good quote from Gabe Newell where he was in an interview and someone asked him about realism, and he's like, every time realism comes up in every time realism comes up in discussion when we're making a game in Valve, like Half-Life 2, I ask, how is that fun? Because in real life, I have to like make lists of things when I go to the store, when I go to buy stuff. Yeah. How is that fun? right? And there's also an excellent like Rick and Morty scene where they're playing like an alien video game system, PlayStation system, and that has a realism slider, and they're playing like Street Fighter, and they slide the realism slider up to maximum, and they have to spend hours wandering around a city to find each other, so they can fight. And at the top of the screen, there's like their health. It's not their health bars counting down; it's their boredom. It was their attention span of their characters, because eventually their attention spans will empty out and they'll forget why they're fighting. And so you have to find each other before your meter empties, or else you'll just wander off and go do something else in the game.
All right.
So more realistic isn't exactly more fun. That's why we have the idea of abstraction to kind of get us over that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's. I will leave off with this could lead into a discussion about the teleportation thing that they talked about a couple of months ago, where like teleporting the party leader, and one of the reasons why I think a lot of people,
smithing.
I think what a lot of people said they didn't like it wasn't because the idea is bad, but it's because there's already gameplay elements that they just haven't fixed that would solve some of those problems about meeting up faster. And they just people got the bad taste in their mouth.
Honestly,
it's like, why don't you just fix your problems instead of just making a jump to party leader mechanic when you can just make transport less shit, flights less shit, You
can just have like a fade to black. I mean, honestly, I was kind of against the idea. Then I realized that, oh, wait a minute, we're supposed to have NPC crew, so why wouldn't my Carrack be fully crewed with my friends if I log in, right?
Yeah.
You would, as a pirate who's shooting at me. If that Carrack started shooting back instantaneously, why would you care? Like, you could just assume that Carrack was crewed the entire time, right?
Well,
if I had my groups teleport to the place I was departing, right, just before I departed, and then we all boarded the Idris or the Polaris or whatever before we left, how is that a problem?
The only issue is, and I don't want to get into too much of this one because it was just more sort of like a message, an example of like CIG not understanding the message and sort of like abstracting concepts which could easily have been fixed with other things. But the reason why a lot of people got mad at that idea was because planning was part of the game, and it was always supposed to be part of the game. And so like when you have the teleportation, it's like people will use it as a way of abusing to teleport from point A to point B. There is no planning anymore. It's just
we already have that with like character repair. I know somebody who abuses the character repair system.
People use backspaces all the time. Like we're just like, wants to fast travel, and CIG clearly doesn't like that because they're trying to get rid of it eventually. And then you just replace the fast travel with an actual fast travel, and it's like, okay, so there's no reason to fly in your spaceship game. So it's that sort of thing. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 questions left. So the next question's from CM Fool, and I'm going to do this a little bit because this is a CM Fool question. We have the technology to respond. The ability to send messages faster than light, and we're building an artificial planet. How come we don't have a Dyson sphere yet? Because we can't build an artificial planet. Dyson spheres, I don't think you understand the concept of a Dyson sphere. A Dyson sphere is to cover an entire sun, and it's not
not the entire sun. The Goldilocks zone around a sun. So you're looking at
it's even bigger.
Millions and millions of kilometers of
1 AU.
Yeah.
And an entire ball around that sun.
An entire ball. I think I read the projection on that would be more than the entire mass of our solar system.
Yeah.
Just to make a Dyson sphere.
Every
planet,
insane.
every asteroid, every orbital body, every unnatural satellite in our solar system wouldn't even get you to a complete Dyson sphere at 1 AU from the sun. What's an AU radius? 1 AU.
It's insane.
In km. That would be it's 1.496 e to the 8th. Or hold on here, I got this broken down. No, it's like it was 1.49 times 10 to the 8th power. So it's is that billion? Yeah, that's billion. 149,597,870 kilometers.
That's from the sun to a point, and that would be the radius. So you'd have to the
That's the
radius
radius.
squared.
Double
Yeah.
that to get the to get the diameter of your guys'
Yeah.
sphere.
And then you have to like, I don't my
And that's gonna be complete
trigonometry
sphere.
is fucked. But yeah.
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 And so like the reality is we can't even build a planet. We wouldn't be able to build a Dyson
You could do
sphere.
a ring around a very small star, like a
That's
red
kind
dwarf.
of
That would work.
I think that's called like a Dyson swarm. I think is something like that.
Dyson Swarm is where you have a bunch of satellites,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was in Mass Effect. The Geth built one
Yeah.
to help power their AI networks.
Um,
Also, the Dyson Sphere project deals with that. But yeah, you could build a ring, just a flat ring around a like halo around a star, a really small star. That would work. You'd have more than enough material to do that.
Yeah. I think Ringworld is specifically that.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 more questions. One we've kind of already answered. No, it says where are all the NPC ships in this spaceship game?
They're in Squadron 42.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
That's where all the effort's going.
We literally talked about this earlier. Where it was like, they did exist at one point, and you could engage with them, but the game is so badly optimized right now that it wouldn't be able to function, and they'd have to rebuild a lot of the systems into Star Citizen, which would take time and energy and resources, which is clearly being allocated to Squadron. And that makes sense because like Squadron is the main focus. So
Yeah.
Yep.
We've got 2 more questions. One is Skyguard 1000, who asks, do you think they'll give us asteroid hangars like they originally stated?
Grimhex. Yes, I think they will.
Yeah.
They kind of do, or they kind of already do, but it's more the asteroid hangars is Nyx.
Yeah,
That
Nyx.
kind of them.
Yeah.
The
We're
the
going to
thing-
see more asteroid hangers. CIG loves that kind of like that asteroid kind of punk vibe.
The-
with Nyx.
The aesthetic's cool. They clearly like doing it with like Nyx and Pyro and Grimhex and stuff like that. I don't see why not.
and we'll see. The key is the aesthetic of those hangars. Yeah, they already exist. They exist in Pyro too, with the executive hangars. Those are all asteroid hangars. So
Yeah.
the RAB exists in Pyro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Citizen Wake's last question says, do you think instancing will bring player apartments and homes that was once discussed?
Eventually, yes.
Eventually, yeah.
I mean, we already have like persistent hangers, and those are just a tiny bit of instancing right there for you.
Yeah.
So I
There's
can definitely see like player apartments in Area 18 where you have like you go into an elevator, it shoves you into an instance without you realizing it. You go up, and then you step out, and it's like here's your floor, and then you have like a selection of habs to go into, and
I
one of them.
think that's how GTA 5 works when you get your own apartment. You get into an elevator, you go up to your apartment, but it's basically the copy paste same apartment that everyone gets, the same floor and everything. It's just instanced effectively. That's where you get your own little one, but you can invite your friends. So and I think that would be probably easier than hangars too, because you don't have constant ships moving in and out. It's just in an elevator. The most you'll have is somebody gets in the same elevator as you and goes up to your instance. We already have the automatically teleporting away sort of.
Yeah, it just kicks them out. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I think that's a great example of Endgame. Why? Because it's just sort of a sandbox thing where you can go buy this or sandboxy thing where you can go buy this thing. Does it have any value? Nope. But I can decorate it as I want to with that fashion.
Yeah, but look how like you mentioned GTA. Look how much money GTA Online has made. Like
that's selling shark cards, and Star Citizen's made a lot of money too, selling spaceships. But GTA 5 is a far more popular game than Star Citizen, with a much larger player base considering it's on consoles. Like, how many consoles?
Do you really think that players wouldn't, if they were given an option to buy like an executive, like pay a little bit of money and upgrade their apartment to like a penthouse suite, they wouldn't pull out the credit card to get a penthouse?
Yeah, absolutely.
If CIG made the grind really bad, people would definitely pay to skip.
Yeah.
With real money. And that again, that goes into a completely different podcast there. Like the RMT model, and
that's a podcast that I want to do in the future, but I don't want to do it right now because I don't think the discussion is really helpful when the game is the way it is right now. But there is a discussion to be had about what does CIG do past 1.0? How do they continue to make this money without ruining ship balances and that kind of stuff. That's
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Citizen of Deedsy and HCVertigo for coming on and creating creating new memes in the process, which I was not expecting. Someone said I got to make that into a short. I'm going to probably make that into a short. I'll see if I can figure out how to make that into a short. It'll be very funny.
Oh, it's going to be delightful.
Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. And like I say every time, oh, wait, before we do this, check us out live. Twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the-captain's-table-podcast at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you join us live and ask your own questions. Remember, like the video, subscribe for more content, hit the bell icon to be notified of the release. Let me know down below in the comments on Spotify or audio podcasts, as well as YouTube, your thoughts on any of the topics we discussed. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.